Chapter 351. I did to him what he did to Tiger. Chapter 351. I did to him what he did to Tiger. The middle-aged bald man was very frustrated, unable to vent his anger. He looked at Qin Zhao in disgust. Is everyone in your college as rude as you? Suddenly, he felt a hot wave of air from behind. He turned around only to see a bloody mouth before him. Roar! Immediately, the middle-aged bald man felt death. The few strands of hair on his head swung in the wind. He sat on the floor and peed himself. Haha! All the people in the boxing club laughed. Wright stood right before the middle-aged man and looked at him from above. Mr. Burke, please mind your language and behavior. If you speak rudely to my people again, I'll chop you into pieces and feed you to the bear. Wright's words were too domineering. The middle-aged bald man did not even dare to utter a sound. Wright walked up to Qin Zhao. Chun, nice job. Qin Zhao was approved not just by the boxing club, but also by Wright. Don't think that an old woman in her 80s or 90s could not be hot-blooded. It would be too cowardly to reason obsequiously after being bullied. What happened inside? Why are these people carried out of the boxing club? They're from UCSF, right? Did they have a fight with our boxing club? Many students gathered at the entrance of the boxing club, watching a dozen people being carried out. Eveleigh and Normans were also at the door. Soon, they saw Qin Zhao walk out with Princess. Chun, come here. What? Qin Zhao approached Normans and Eveleigh. What happened to them? What do you mean? I saw them just now. They're from the UCSF swimming team. Don't tell me you weren't involved in their injury. Why are you so sure that I'm involved? I've emphasized this umpteen times. I'm a pacifist. Just then, a few members of the boxing club walked out. When they passed by Qin Zhao, they greeted, Mr. Chun, we're leaving? All right. Another boxing club member walked out. Mr. Chun, you're amazing. Another member came out. Mr. Chun, you'll be my idol from now on. Eveleigh and Norman stared at Qin Zhao. Pacifists. They could imagine that a fight had erupted because of the conflict between Qin Zhao and those from UCSF. Nevertheless, they did not expect Qin Zhao to beat all of them up. The students from UCSF were quite pitiful, actually. These poor kids probably thought that Qin Zhao was really a swimming coach. When Eveleigh Douglas was carried out, the onlooking students all exclaimed in surprise. Some of them recognized Eveleigh Douglas. Eveleigh knew him, too. She turned to look at Qin Zhao. You did it. Eveleigh Douglas' arms were distorted in an unnatural way, and half of his face was swollen. One of his eyes had almost burst, and blood was continuously oozing out from his eye and mouth. Qin Zhao shrugged. He made me angry. What did he do? I did to him what he did to Tiger, Qin Zhao replied. Eveleigh Douglas was the only one more injured than Tiger. Tiger was sent to Chantilly Hospital. Qin Zhao planned to check on him. Just as Qin Zhao alighted from the vehicle, he heard someone call him. He turned his head and realized that it was Tim Waltz. Hi, Mr.
Tim.
Hi, Mr. Qin. Tim Waltz did not expect to meet Qin Zhao here again. He was very grateful to Qin Zhao for saving Hoffman. Of course, he also admired Qin Zhao. After all, Hoffman's vital signs had almost disappeared completely. Only Qin Zhao believed firmly that Hoffman was still alive. He not only insisted on his judgment, but also completed an operation that a few surgeons together could not. Tim Waltz had asked a few experts about the situation. Almost all of them described the outcome as being unbelievable. A person pushed out of the operating room after a failed surgery was dead for sure. But Qin Zhao could save such a dead person. He even corrected the failed surgery and completed the entire process. It was truly unimaginable. Mr. Chun, I have a question to ask you. Are you free? What question? I've asked a few experts and they said that Hoffman shouldn't exercise, but you asked Hoffman to exercise suitably. Is it? Yes. Can you tell me who is correct? Arrange a checkup for Hoffman and then give the report to those experts, Qin Zhao said. I still have something urgent. I'm leaving. Bye. Tim Waltz was puzzled. Were there any changes to Hoffman's body? Why did he need another checkup? Chen Zhao entered the hospital and found Four right away. Chun, why are you here again? To see WATE leaders? No, my student is hospitalized. Help me to find his medical report. What's his name? For searched on the computer in her office. Tiger, 21 years old. Four opened his medical report. Take a look yourself. Why is your student so badly injured? He fell down while drunk. Chun Zhao turned the computer monitor. When he saw the injury report, his heart sank. Although he did not cause Tiger's injury directly, he was definitely part of the cause. Left eye retinal detachment, vitreous hemorrhage, destructive corneal damage. Can't be repaired. Lens necrosis, don't think a fall can cause those. And also comminuted fracture in both arms. Was he hit by a car? Four looked at Chen Zhao. Are you going to treat him? Yes. Need any arrangement? No. I'll tell him myself. Chen Zhao stood up and said, I'm going. Chen Zhao found Tiger's ward. His family was also there. Tiger was already awake. When he saw Chen Zhao, deep, indescribable sorrow appeared on his face. Today, he finally understood how big the difference between him and a professional boxer was. Anyway, he had already woken up on the ambulance. The accompanying boxing club member told him what had happened. Tiger also got to know Chen Zhao again. Zanla Douglas, whom Tiger could not even fight back, was defeated by Chen Zhao like a kid. Chapter 352, Choice. Chapter 352, Choice. Tiger, I said this before. Stop boxing. Can't you just go to class and study? Look at you now. Tiger's mom wiped at her tears. The doctor said that you need at least 2 to 3 years to recover. Excuse me. Chen Zhao walked up. Tiger, I have good news for you. A management company wants to sign you as their athlete. Tiger looked at him blankly. Mr. Chun, do you think I can still box now? Miss, can I talk to Tiger alone? Tiger's mom turned toward Chen Zhao. She didn't know how she should reply. Mom, let me talk to Mr. Chun. Fine. Tiger's mom finally got up and left the room. Tiger, do you know Rufford? Yeah, he's the top American sprinter and 14th track athlete worldwide. I'm his main doctor, Chen Zhao said. We also have an agreement. Last October, his injuries were similar to yours. He told Tiger about his and Rufford's story. I sponsored him with the condition that a portion of his earnings would go to me for 2 years. Tiger looked at him. Mr. Chun, can you heal me? Yes. In at most a month, I'll help you recover and also act as your temporary coach to train you. So you're saying that if I sign the contract, I can be like Rufford? Tiger grew excited. Rufford and I didn't sign any contracts. We just trust each other. But if he goes against our promise, I'll make him pay. Chen Zhao looked at Tiger. You too. I won't sign any lawful contracts with you. I can't promise that you can be more successful than Rufford either. I can only say that you'll stand in the ring again, stronger than before. Okay, I accept. Tiger agreed to Chen Zhao's suggestion without even thinking. Right now, he had no other choice. One option was not doing anything and recovering for 2 or 3 years. After that, his boxing career would be completely destroyed. After all, he was at the prime age now. 2 or 3 years later, he would be going downhill. The other option was accepting Chen Zhao's suggestion and gambling his future. Stay in the hospital for now. I already paid for all the bills. When you recover, we'll start the treatment. Also, I helped you find a management company. It's CAA, just like Rufford. Tiger felt that Chen Zhao was a stranger. From the first conflict to the later apology to going to Chen Zhao and asking for help, until now. He discovered that Chen Zhao was clearer about his future development than he was himself. The man even knew CAA. This was something a newbie like him didn't even dare to think about. Professor Fick, I have a test report here. Help me take a look. It's my son's newest report. Tim Waltz handed the report to Professor Fick. The advantage of being rich was that any expert or scholar was at their beck and call. A few minutes later, Professor Fick said, Mr. Waltz, this is Hoffman's newest report? Yes. Is there a problem? The report after the surgery by Hoffman's lifesaver? Yes, it's from today. Mr. Waltz, Can you introduce me to that man? What's wrong? Tim asked, confused. I would like to learn from him. I can't even call myself a professor before him. Why? Tim Waltz was even more confused. From what he could see, Chun Zhao was young enough to be Professor Fick's student. Hoffman's heart surgery was very successful. You can even say that it's perfect. It's much more effective compared to the first surgery. His heart shape is already close to the regular shape. The heartbeat is just a tad slower. This is because Hoffman's long-term lack of exercise caused his heart to be too weak. Judging from this report, Hoffman indeed should try some exercises. You're saying that Hoffman can exercise like regular people? Not yet. I still need to get some data so Hoffman won't overexercise. Hearing Professor Fick's reply, Tim Waltz was even more overjoyed. Oh, you can ask the gentleman who performed surgery on Hoffman. He should be clearer than me about how to arrange exercises for Hoffman. Tim thought for a moment. It made sense. After Hoffman's surgery, that Mr. Chun had said that Hoffman should exercise. He was definitely the most familiar about Hoffman's condition. But how could Waltz find the man? He didn't have his contact information. It seemed that he could only ask Dr. 4. Tim went straight to the hospital and found 4's office. Dr. 4, hello. Mr. Waltz, hello? How can I help you? I wish to know Mr. Chin's contact information. I'm sorry. I can't give you his contact without his permission. Then can you help me ask about Hoffman's condition and how he should exercise? I'll ask for you. The next day, Chun Zhao received Wright's call. The UCSF swim team backed out of all men's events. Only the girls remained fighting. They'd probably destroyed the men's egos and were too embarrassed to continue. This was quite big news. It spread throughout all the University of California schools. The guys of the UCSF swim team went to the boxing club to cause trouble, but got beaten up instead. The leader of the UCSF team, that middle-aged balding man, never went back to school after that day. Since UCLA was the main organizer of this year's sports event, they wouldn't go easy on the others. It was especially so with someone as authoritative as Wright. On the day of the opening ceremony, Chun Zhao went to the stadium to watch as well. Wright stood alone in the center of the huge stadium with Princess. She announced the start of the competition through the microphone. It was only a school-wide event, but they weren't any less professional than official competitions. There were many events too, including track, swimming, weightlifting, ball sports, and more. There were at least 100 events with thousands of students participating. Many students from the 10 University of California schools were at a professional level. The entire campus was filled with the athletic spirit. As soon as Chun Zhao walked out of the stadium, he was stopped by a few girls. Is UCLA really this cowardly? Do you think you can get more gold medals by hurting the guys on our swim team? They're not our only swimmers. Our women's team is stronger than the men's. We'll show you tomorrow just how good we are. Chapter 353, A King's Grandeur. Chapter 353, A King's Grandeur. Chun Zhao smiled. Do these ladies even know what actually happened? Forget it. They can do whatever they want. Looking at these naive girls, Chun Zhao could not bear to tell them the truth. He would rather let them live in their own world. Chun Zhao left the stadium. Eveleigh found him. Why are you here? Are you not watching the competition? I'm a sports idiot. I'm not interested in the competition, Chun Zhao said lightly. Eveleigh was speechless. What did the sports monster, someone who could break world records at any time, just tell her? Your words will make all the athletes in the world feel ashamed of themselves. By the way, you see those girls? Chun Zhao pointed at the UCSF female swimming team in the distance. Why? You like one of them? If any of them is in the same pool as you, beat the shit out of them. Did they make you angry? They just taunted me. Eveleigh glanced at Chun Zhao. What a narrow-minded person you are. Meow, meow. Eveleigh lowered her head. The little cat that Chun Zhao would usually carry ran to his feet with a sausage in his mouth. Why did you just leave him on campus? Aren't you afraid that he'll go missing? I really hope that he'll go missing, Chun Zhao said, unconcerned. Unless Chun Zhao threw Samuel into outer space, It was almost impossible to get rid of Samuel. I'm leaving. Bye. Chun Zhao lifted Samuel up, who wiggled in his arms. I've just gotten myself another believer. Do you see it? It's an offering for my believer. Do you see it? How many believers do you have here? 7. No, it's 8. It seems like you need to work harder. You've taken another big step toward ruling the world. What's this thing called? Samuel asked, pointing to the sausage in his mouth. Sausage. Add this to our deal earlier. When will you summon me to hell? I need some time to prepare. Prepare what? It wasn't this troublesome when Abito's father summoned me to hell. He could do it any time. Abito's father is just a great lord, but I'm a demon king. Of course, I need my grandeur. Don't tell me you're going to welcome me with a demon army? No, it's just building a castle. Building a castle? For what? As my palace, of course. Where do you normally stay? The dark forest. It'll be too embarrassing to summon you there. Qin Zhao roughly got it. The place Samuel usually lived in was too desolate. Samuel would build a temporary castle to save his face. How long do you need? A few days, perhaps. How big will it be? It won't just be a cottage, will it? Are you humiliating me, the king? How do I dare to? Your face is telling me that you do. Qin Zhao planned to change the topic. Do you hardly leave the dark forest? Almost never, Samuel answered. It was no wonder Samuel looked very much like a provincial, even a village idiot. Then what if your subordinates want to see you? Simple. Just send a demon who can speak very fast to see me. Why must the demon be able to speak fast? If he speaks too slowly, he might be eaten by me before he finishes. Suddenly, Qin Zhao bumped into a passerby, but the passerby was definitely at a disadvantage. Sorry, the person apologized first. Qin Zhao observed the person. He was big in size and did not look like a commoner. Qin Zhao inspected him because the person who last bumped into Qin Zhao had caused him a whole lot of trouble. The road was wide and empty. Either both of them were not looking in front, or the man wanted to do something. Meow. Qin Zhao suddenly pulled the person. Return my wallet to me. The man's face changed. Who took your wallet? Just then, he moved his arm and seized Qin Zhao's hands instead, wanting to lock his hands. However, Qin Zhao was stronger than he expected. Qin Zhao's hands did not move at all. When the man realized that he could not move Qin Zhao, he kicked Qin Zhao's knee with his shoe. Qin Zhao still did not move. Actually, the force was not even as big as when Princess playfully ran into him. When the person realized that his attack was again ineffective, he hit Qin Zhao's stomach with his elbow. Qin Zhao was finally enraged. Are you playing acrobatics with me? Qin Zhao grabbed the man's neck and struck the man's forehead with his. Thud. The person collapsed at once. Qin Zhao found his wallet on him. After a while, a girl and a group of tall men approached the fallen man. They helped their friend to get up from the ground, but he was still in a daze. Rena was very displeased. Hero, why are you so useless? Aren't you a former elite from SEAL? And then? You failed. Miss, he's an excellent fighter, Hero said, looking wronged. I don't care. Think of a solution for me now. I want revenge. You promised that you'll help me, but you only made me angrier. Miss, he's really strong. We're definitely no match for him unless all of us go at the same time. Then all of you deal with him together. There's gotta be a way. Miss, if we fight in the city, it'll cause a lot of trouble for you. Then how? Wait for him to go somewhere deserted? I don't have that much time. Miss, according to our findings, he appears to be a UCLA lecturer, but he's actually an illegal doctor. So what? Are we going to collect evidence and then send him to the police station? No, we can use his intermediary to trick him out of the city. By then, we can deal with him in whatever way we please. Great, very good idea. Go and do it, quick. Miss, where should we bring him to? The sea. Isn't he a swimming coach? I'll let him swim all he wants. Hero, prepare me a yacht. Miss, you should not show up. If he sees you, he might sue you. No, I want to see him beg me. Chapter 354, Fali's Special Taste. Chapter 354, Fali's Special Taste. Do you want this? Yes. What about this? This too? Samuel looked at the stocked shelves. He barely had time to look at everything. As a country bumpkin demon lord, he'd never seen so many items before. Even the same thing had countless different brands. How could you make a demon lord happy? Take him to the supermarket. This must be expensive. Samuel looked at the cart of stuff. It was all for him, so he was surprisingly a bit shy. In his view, his followers gave him these things as offerings. Since his followers used these as offerings, it meant that these things were precious. Chen Zhao bought so many things today. He must have paid a great cost. Good that you know. Chen Zhao pushed the cart to the cash register. Just then, For called. Chun, are you busy? No, I'm grocery shopping. What's wrong? Do you remember the kid named Hoffman? The one with an abnormal heart? Yes, him. For said. His father found me today, hoping I could ask you about how much Hoffman should exercise and how. Oh, send me his test report. I'll make a plan for him when I'm free. Exiting the supermarket, Chun Zhao put everything he'd bring to hell into his spatial ring. Anything else you want to buy? Chun Zhao asked, holding Samuel. I want a bed that you and the madam sleep in. My spatial ring is almost full. I've already put so much wyvern meat into it. I can't fit a bed in it. If you want wyvern meat, I'll give you the 10 biggest wyverns when we get to hell. I'll expand the spatial ring for you too. You can expand a spatial ring? It's not hard for my true form. Then wait a few days for me to finish eating the meat. Chun Zhao really didn't want to throw it out. After all, it was a delicacy from hell. The big and small pets at home definitely couldn't finish it. Even Princess couldn't finish it if she ate her fill. Chen Zhao had to go to sea and feed the meat to Amon. That low-level wyvern meat is meaningless for your pets, especially Princess. They'll only grow in size, but their magic power won't grow at all. Then what should they eat? Chen Zhao asked, curious. I have a subordinate who specializes in feeding my pets. He's the expert. You can ask him. Chen Zhao put this on his mind. He was getting more and more pets. It was okay if they were demon incarnations like Beelzebub, but Princess family was much more troublesome. They were smart, but they still couldn't really understand some things. For example, flushing the toilet was obvious for humans. Princess didn't think so, though. Every time, Chen Zhao wanted to give her a spanking, but he couldn't bear to do so. If he had the chance, Chen Zhao indeed wanted to talk to this expert. At home, Chen Zhao started preparing dinner. Fali came back a while later and joined to help in the kitchen. After making dinner, Chen Zhao and Fali sat by the side. Leaning against Princess, they drank beer and ate dinner. Fali, I'm going there again in 2 days, Chen Zhao said. Is there anything you want? I don't even know what stuff they have. How do I know if you can bring it back? Just say whatever. I'll try my best to bring it back if they have it. Fali thought for a long while and drank some beer. Our home is almost finished, right? Yeah. They're installing the management system. Bant's workshop is working on the furniture too. What about decorations? What style do you want? Isn't our basement empty? I want to put the skeleton of some creature there. Chen Zhao was shocked by Fali's weird idea. Fali, are you serious? The bigger, the better. Okay, I'll do my best. They should have it. Since Fali requested it, Chen Zhao felt that he had to try his hardest to fulfill her wishes. Even if the spatial ring couldn't fit it all, he'd just have to take a few trips. Anything else? For yourself? Oh, how about you bring a present for Dad? Fali suggested. What is he like? I don't know. Bring whatever you think is suitable. I'll think about it. Just then, Ethan called. Hey, Chun. There's a client. I drank alcohol, Chen Zhao said. It was only 2 cans of beer, but he felt like he should still make it clear. The client offered $100,000. That much? Chen Zhao arched an eyebrow. What's wrong with him? I don't know. He's unwilling to say. Will you take it? Yes, Chen Zhao said without hesitation. He's at Rolmar Pier. Chen Zhao knew that Rolmar Pier was all for yachts. He couldn't figure out why the client would be there. Okay, got it. Chun Zhao shoveled food into his mouth. Fali, I have a client. I gotta go. Don't drive. You drank beer. Call a cab. Fali also drank beer, so she couldn't drive him. Yeah. Chun Zhao wiped his mouth. He changed his clothes, kissed Fali goodbye, got his toolkit, and left hurriedly. The 2 beers didn't affect his condition at all. He arrived at Rolmar Pier half an hour later. Ethan, I'm at the pier. Notify the client. A while later, a man walked over from afar. He had short hair, sharp features, and wore a black suit. It looked like he had a concealed gun. After coming to America, Chun Zhao had experienced many shootings. He was more and more skilled in dealing with these things. He wouldn't freak out when a gun was to his head anymore. The client looked like a bodyguard-type person. It wasn't weird for him to have a gun. Hello, are you Mr. Chin?
Yes.
Chun Zhao nodded. Follow me. Can I know your name? Chun Zhao asked, following the man. You can call me Jarl. Okay, Mr. Jarl. Where are we going? Chun Zhao saw that he'd already followed Jarl to the end of the pier. Jarl pointed to the end. There was a speedboat stopped there. Chun Zhao glanced at it. We're going out to sea?
Yes.
Jarl looked at him. It's a bit far. Is that okay? For $100,000, it was obviously okay. I'm pretty good at swimming. Great. Then let's go. Chapter 355. How about a truce? Chapter 355. How about a truce? Jarl operated the speedboat, and they advanced quickly out to sea. After almost an hour, Chun Zhao saw a yacht in front of them. Chun Zhao guessed that it was their destination. Who was his client? A rich person who had played too much in a yacht party, or a rich person who had accidentally injured someone. The speedboat approached the yacht slowly. A ladder dropped down from the yacht. Jarl asked Chun Zhao to climb first, and he would follow. Chun Zhao climbed onto the yacht and saw many bodyguards. Counting, he realized there were 12. He guessed that the owner of the yacht must have some status. Indeed, he had never seen a person with so many bodyguards. Even Risfar would usually only have 4 bodyguards with him. All the bodyguards here had standard equipment, black suit and sunglasses. They stood with their arms crossed. They looked pretty fearsome, at least intimidating. Where's my patient? Just then, a woman walked out from the awning on the upper deck. Because it was already late, Chun Zhao could not see her face clearly. He only felt that she should be quite young. Aren't you surprised to see me? The woman asked. Who are you? Chun Zhao looked confused. Do we know each other? Have you forgotten? We met this morning outside the UCLA stadium. Can't remember. Chun Zhao shook his head. Are you sick? You're the one who's sick. You're not sick? Then who's sick? Rena's lips twitched. Looks like you still have no idea what the situation is. What situation? Chun Zhao was still puzzled. Suddenly, he realized something. Am I abducted? Haha, you finally got it. You're not as stupid as I thought. Can you tell me why you abducted me? You hit my boyfriend. Do you know how much effort I've put in to let Aleshsan be my boyfriend? How dare you make his handsome face swell? Chun Zhao roughly got it. The woman was both boy-crazy and mentally abnormal. Then what will you do now? Kill me? I won't kill because of someone like you, but I'll beat you up like how you beat Aleshsan up. You can't hit me from up there. I don't have to do it myself. Jarl, he's yours. Chun Zhao realized that one of the bodyguards was the pickpocket he had met earlier that day. So the conflict earlier had been arranged too. Nevertheless, the woman had probably underestimated Chun Zhao at that time. Just then, Jarl kicked Chun Zhao from the back and Chun Zhao fell forward. The 11 bodyguards in front surrounded him and began to hit him. Chun Zhao curled up into a ball and protected his head with his arms, allowing them to attack. All the 12 bodyguards were carrying guns. No matter how strong Chun Zhao was, he could not afford a head-on conflict. With just their hands and feet, the 12 bodyguards could hardly deal any damage to Chun Zhao. Anyway, Chun Zhao decided to submit for the moment. Keep hitting me, let me rest for a while. After Chen Zhao was beaten for a few minutes, Rina finally came down from the upper deck. Lift him up. With his head slanted, Chen Zhao was carried up by 2 bodyguards. Rina walked up to Chen Zhao, her face filled with arrogance. She lifted her hand and slapped Chen Zhao's face. How was it? How do you feel now? Did your bodyguards not have dinner? They didn't use much strength. Rina went closer to inspect Chen Zhao. Jarl Harrow, he doesn't look injured. Miss, don't go too close to him. Just then, strength erupted from Chen Zhao's arms. The 2 bodyguards who were carrying him suddenly felt an irresistible power which flung them out. In the next moment, Chen Zhao had already broken free. He immediately seized Rina's neck. All the bodyguards' hair stood up in fright. They drew their guns at once and pointed at Chen Zhao. Let the miss go now. We're all adults. Can you not be so naive? Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. I suppose you're all excellent shooters. At such a close distance, you should be able to hit my head easily. Chen Zhao took back one of his hands, but he lifted Rina up by the neck with the other hand. Rina almost suffocated as she kicked her legs wildly in the air. Let her go. We'll let you leave. All the bodyguards stared anxiously at Chen Zhao. Throw your guns into the sea, Chen Zhao instructed. Everyone. The bodyguards threw their guns without hesitation. Only then did Chen Zhao put Rina back onto the floor. In the 10 seconds or so, she really thought that she was going to die. Chen Zhao laughed and turned Rina's face toward him. Darling, look, the situation's been turned over. Rina's face was filled with anger. Gritting her teeth, she looked at Chen Zhao. I will kill you. We've already dropped our guns. Now let the miss go. How would I know if you still have guns with you? Remove your suit and throw it into the sea. The 12 bodyguards removed their jackets very soon, but Chen Zhao was clearly not satisfied. Remove your shirt too. Also remove your pants. The bodyguards looked at each other and then at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao's hand was still placed on Rina's neck. They were really not confident that they could save Rina from him. They had seen Chen Zhao's unusual strength. He had lifted Rina into the air with just one hand. His single-arm snatch was at least 100 kilograms. A lever was used in a normal single-arm snatch. Usually, a person who could lift a 200 kilograms barbell might not be able to lift a 50 kilograms object vertically with one hand. But Chen Zhao did it. Therefore, if Chen Zhao wanted to crush Rina's neck bones, he only had to use a bit of strength. What are you waiting for? Remove it. The 12 bodyguards had no choice but to remove their pants as well. They only had their underwear left. Remove your underwear too. Chen Zhao made another request. This is too much.
Fine.
Chen Zhao also did not want to see 12 naked men. If they were to wear red cloaks now, they would become Spartans. Forget it. Gimme a dance. Suddenly, Jarl charged forward and pulled Rina's arm. Chen Zhao wanted to pull Rina back, but another bodyguard bolted forward and kicked Chen Zhao. He had to let Rina go and blocked the kick, taking 2 steps back. Rina returned to her bodyguards. After regaining her safety, her eyes were burning with fury. In fact, the 12 bodyguards, after being teased, were also mad. How about a truce? Chapter 356. Why does the rabid dog bite people? Chapter 356. Why does the rabid dog bite people? Kill him! Rina yelled in fury. Finally, Harrow moved first. He was probably the angriest of them all. He'd been humiliated by Chen Zhao twice today. However, Chen Zhao took advantage of his impulsiveness. He grabbed Harrow's arm, his other hand going for Harrow's waist. He lifted the man up and slammed him on the deck. Harrow coughed out blood. He couldn't get back up anymore. Chen Zhao rolled his neck. Thanks for helping me warm up earlier. It won't be just warm up later, Jarl said coldly. You better get ready for staying in the hospital for half a year. The 2 bodyguards attacked Chen Zhao from the left and right. Chen Zhao could only block them. Real fighting wasn't like in action movies. He couldn't fend off attacks from 2 men, especially if they were fighting experts. Chen Zhao could only choose to block one side. He did that, and someone behind him put him in a chokehold. He also got punched in the stomach. However, the bodyguard behind him obviously miscalculated Chen Zhao's strength. He pried the arm off his neck. He also broke that arm with a crack and tossed the man away. Arg! The guard got a metal pole out of nowhere and slammed it down at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao blocked it with his right arm. The pole bent, but Chen Zhao's arm was totally unharmed. The bodyguard's face was written with shock. This could only happen in movies. He'd blocked the metal pole with his body and broke the pole instead. Rena was dumbfounded too. Was he human? You better get something sturdier. This time, Chen Zhao was no longer on defense. Instead, he was the attacker. He was still too conservative with the fighting earlier. After all, the other side had the advantage in numbers. It was impossible for him not to get hit. Even Gaia wouldn't be completely unharmed in a situation like this. Instead of passively waiting for them to attack and then finding a chance to fight back, it was better to get it over with. Exchanging blow for blow, it seemed that Chen Zhao was attacked more, but the bodyguards could only enact limited damage. Another bodyguard was punched by Chen Zhao. He fell to the floor, grabbing his shoulder. Chen Zhao spun around, punching again. His fist landed heavily on a guard's face. At the same time, he was hit in the face too. By now, 6 of the 12 guards had fallen. The scene looked a bit bloody. The corners of Chen Zhao's lips and eyes were broken. One ear was bleeding. But the bodyguards on the ground were in much worse shape. It was pure luck no one had died yet. Thud. Yet another guard fell down. There were more and more guards on the ground, but Chen Zhao was still lively. Rena's bodyguards were all injured. Finally, the last guard was punched in the chin. He spun 360 degrees and couldn't get up again. Chen Zhao looked at Rena. She was curled up in a corner, staring at him in horror. After the fight, Chen Zhao was honestly tired. He hurt all over. This was different from the fight with the swim team a few days ago. He was completely tired. These bodyguards were all skilled fighters. Their techniques weren't any weaker than Chen Zhao. They only lacked in the ability to take hits and force. For every man that Chen Zhao sent down, he had to get hit many times. He smiled at Rena. Isn't it surprising? Isn't it exciting? If you dare. Crack. Chen Zhao slapped Rena, making a side of her face swell up immediately. Feel good. I'm going to tell my dad. Here's your phone. Call your dad. Rena indeed picked up her phone and called someone. Chen Zhao snatched it over. A deep voice came from the other end. Who is it? Who are you? You called me, but you don't know who I am. The other person asked, confused. Okay, I'll get straight to it. Your daughter is suspected of illegal imprisonment, personal injury, hiring assassins, and attempted murder. What do you think we should do? What are you talking about? Chen Zhao handed the phone to Rena, who immediately started crying. Dad, I got beaten by this asshole. He hit me. He hit me. Rena, what's wrong? Where's Jarl? What happened to him? Jarl's on the ground. Your bodyguards are all on the ground. Why? I don't want these failures anymore. Do they have a lot of people? Just one. Rena sobbed. Dad, I want to kill this asshole. Kill him for me. Where are you right now? A boat. Give him the phone. Gritting her teeth, Rena looked at Chen Zhao and unwillingly handed the phone over. Hello, sir. What can I call you by? If you can hire 12 bodyguards for your daughter, you can definitely find out who I am. I'm asking you how to take care of this, or I'll just throw your daughter into the sea to feed the sharks. Fine. How much do you want? $500,000. Chen Zhao didn't know the other party's bottom line. He wouldn't be satisfied if he asked for too little. But if he asked for too much, it could go from asking for compensation to kidnapping for ransom. Rena and her bodyguards weren't a gang. He wouldn't be able to keep it under wraps if he killed them all. After all, he'd come because of Ethan. If he killed these people, Chen Zhao's life would be ruined too. Chen Zhao was mostly logical. No problem. Chen Zhao received an answer quickly. The man didn't hesitate, as if $500,000 wasn't any money. Chen Zhao kind of regretted asking for so little. But I don't wish my daughter to have any injuries. I slapped her. Thanks for teaching Rena a lesson. Qinzhao couldn't tell if this was genuine or sarcasm. He was physically and mentally exhausted after the fight. He sat on the deck, applying ointment onto his face. Rena sat in the corner, hugging her legs and crying. The boat landed and someone was already at the pier for Rena. It was a tall and sexy woman with 2 bodyguards before her. Sister. Rena jumped straight into the woman's arms. The woman studied Qinzhao, who'd just gotten off the boat, with cold eyes. She handed him a check. This is yours.
Thanks.
Qinzhao took the money and started to leave. Just then, the woman said, the Floy family isn't so easy to bully. Qinzhao glanced back at her. Do you know why dogs with rabies bite people randomly? The woman's eye twitched. Because it can feel death coming and wants people to die with it. Seems like you understand this too. Chapter 357. You aren't going to kill me, are you? Chapter 357. You aren't going to kill me, are you? Sis, are we just going to let that jerk off? Rena roared. His words are clear enough. Our family isn't big. If we enrage him, he'll surely kill our people, Rhea said. Our family is rich. Why should we be scared of him? We can kill him, but he can kill one of our people. It's not worth it. Rhea looked at Rena. So this is over? Rena asked, not willing to give up. Yes, it ends now. Why would you provoke such an insane person? I'm tired. I'm going back to sleep. Rena turned around and left. Unlike the young Rena, Rhea was much more rational. Given that Qinzhao could defeat Rena's 12 bodyguards, he could certainly kill anyone he wanted. Perhaps they could kill Qinzhao with their clan's power, but what would happen before that? Nobody would want to go near a red-eyed mad dog. Their family motto was to keep a low profile. Enemies that were not irreconcilable should not even be treated as enemies. In this society, nobody could kill a person easily. Even illegal gangs might not dare to, because killing a person required careful handling. Burying the corpse was far from being sufficient. If the clues were not all removed, they would be discovered without difficulty. As a clan that had been passed down for dozens of generations, they upheld their low-profile ideology very seriously. Rhea took out her phone. Dad, it's over. Yes. How's Rena? She wanted revenge, but now she's tired and resting. How's Jarl and the others? Very severely injured. They're all in the hospital. Then who would protect Rena? I don't have enough men with me. Also, if you send more people here, I'm worried that she'll find that person again. Small conflicts don't matter, but if we really enrage that guy, can we buy him? He's too expensive. It's not worth it to hire him as a mere bodyguard. Then bring Rena back, only if she's willing to leave. Is there no solution? Let me think. Rhea rubbed her forehead. Please, end this quickly. Don't let Rena create more trouble. Just when Qinzhao reached home, he received a call from a stranger. Mr. Chan, you are? I'm Rhea. We met at the dock. Yes? Do you want some extra income? You aren't going to kill me, are you? To be honest, I feel that the conflict between you and Rena is only a kid's horseplay. You're saying I'm a kid? All right, the serious topic. I'll pay for you to pretend dead, just so that Rena can forget about all this. What do you say? How much is that? 500,000. Qinzhao was speechless. These rich people would give a few $100s just for him to act. Were they even treating money as money? Can it go any higher? Goodbye. Wait, I accept. What should I do? Think of something that you can act safely. Tomorrow afternoon, bring me onto the yacht. Tie me up tightly and throw me into the sea, Qinzhao said. Do you need me to arrange someone to save you? No, just do all those. I'll escape myself, but I hope there won't be too many people on the yacht. I don't want to be beaten up again. Sure, Rhea agreed without hesitation. Both of them were really frustrated by the event, so they wanted to end it as soon as possible. Chun, you're back? Yeah, Qinzhao nodded, but he did not turn the lights on. He really did not want Fali to worry. After showering, he went onto the bed quietly. The next day, Qinzhao left the house before Fali even got up. When he arrived in Ethan's motel, Ethan was astonished by his wound-filled face. What happened? The client last night. So what happened? Ethan asked, frowning. The client had some personal conflict with me. It was a trap. I'll take revenge for you. No, this whole thing is over. Stay out of it, Chen Zhao said, shaking his head. You sure? She's just a girl. What can you do? Find people to gang rape her? Fine, since you said it's over. Hi, Mr. Chen. Have you had breakfast? Li Qing carried a tray of sandwiches out from the oven and placed it on the counter. Chen Zhao grabbed a sandwich and began eating. No, or else why would I be here? Li, you work here. Can you stop helping an outsider? Ethan complained. Annie Li, you look much better today. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Chen. In fact, Li Qing did not just look better. She even had something that she never had before. Mr. Ethan, I suggest you don't go out during this period. I've been seeing many shooting events on the news. Maybe you should go out when it's more peaceful, Li Qing advised. Of course, Li Qing knew where Ethan would normally go, either red light districts or bars. It's my problem. Who can sit in the motel all day? Then please be careful. Chen Zhao glanced at Li Qing and could not help but ask, Annie Li, do you know physiognomy? Chen Zhao talked to Li Qing in Chinese so that Ethan would not understand them. Haha, it's just some outdated stuff. It all depends on whether you believe in it. Let's not talk about this. I really believe in this kind of stuff. Can you look at my physiognomy? Chen Zhao asked sincerely. Mr. Chen, I can't tell anything from your face. Why? Is it not convenient for you to say? No, I really can't tell. There are some rules to my inherited technique. Those whose faces are sealed by the 3 yin or blocked by the 6 hills cannot be understood. What do you mean? The 3 yin refer to seeing a ghost, entering a ghost gate, and dealing with a ghost. The yin energy would seal the person's physiognomy. Mr. Chen, you must have done one of them, right? Then what are the 6 hills? Chen Zhao did not give a direct reply. True self, those who have experienced major ups and downs, those who have an unshakable will, those who have returned from death, those who possess supernatural skills, and those who do not believe in it. Apart from true self, the other 5 are unpredictable, not within the control of destiny, and therefore cannot be understood. Did you see something on Ethan? Mr. Ethan's face has been covered in evil recently. His luck is dissipating, and he also has no house to shelter him outside, so he'll surely run into trouble. When a person is out of luck, even a small event may cause death. That's why I suggest he stay in the motel, where he'll be protected. He can go out when his luck regathers. Chapter 358, Eveleigh's Debut. Chapter 358, Eveleigh's Debut. After listening to Li Qing, Chen Zhao glanced at Ethan. What are you two talking about? Can you not speak in Chinese? Ethan complained. Chen Zhao turned toward him. Are you sure you want to know what we're talking about? Bullshit. If you speak Chinese before me again, we're over. You're sick, Chen Zhao said. Huh, I'm sick? With what? Why don't I feel anything? Did you not use protection? Ethan's expression grew uncomfortable. Most of the time, he stammered. That means you sometimes don't use condoms, right? What did I get? I'll prescribe some medicine and you'll be fine in a few days, Chen Zhao said. But if you run out to play before I say you're better, you can be limp for the rest of your life. Okay, give me the medicine. Ethan might not listen to Li Qing, but he would definitely listen to Chen Zhao. Annie Li, if this asshole runs around before he's better, remember to tell me. I'll make sure he can't get hard ever again. Chun, why are you so evil? Can't I go out to buy something? Who knows if you're really going out to buy something, or mess around? Do you want to infect other people after getting sick? Fine. I'll stay in the motel obediently. Chen Zhao still wasn't reassured. Auntie Li, call me no matter where he goes. I got it. Li Qing was very grateful towards Chen Zhao and Ethan. After all, they were the ones who gave her hope when she was most hopeless. I'm busy these 2 days, Chen Zhao said. If there are clients, don't come looking for me. Then he prescribed some Chinese medicine for Ethan. In the afternoon, L.A.'s temperature rose. It was only February, but it still reached more than 70 degrees. When Chen Zhao got to UCLA, the entire campus was heated up. Many students from the other schools came to cheer on their schoolmates. Eveleigh already found Chen Zhao in the crowd. It wasn't because he was eye-catching, but he stood out. After all, he had so many pets with him. Princess was even more attention-grabbing. You got beaten up? Eveleigh looked at Chen Zhao's face in surprise. He had a bandage on the corner of his eyes, and there were bruises on his cheeks too. Normans was curious who could beat Chen Zhao up like this. And where were the people who'd done it? I fell, Chen Zhao said carelessly. Eveleigh remembered their first meeting on the train. He'd also looked like this and had the same answer. How come you're still here? There's still an hour before the meet. Eveleigh wasn't nervous at all. She seemed very calm. Some people were skilled but would get nervous in public events and perform poorly. You should go prepare, Chen Zhao said. Just then, some students walked over. Sir, can I take a picture with Princess? Of course. Chen Zhao nodded, making a welcoming gesture. The students were a bit scared when they approached Princess. But after a girl hugged Princess, the other students grew braver. They made all sorts of weird poses. This caused some consequences. More and more people went to take pictures of Princess. Black Ma and White Ma grew dispirited. They hung their heads low listlessly. Woof. That bitch. It's all because of her that no one cares about us anymore. Black Ma looked at Princess, baring his teeth. I can't stand this. White Ma was jealous too. Can I take pictures with these two big dogs? Woof woof. White Ma and Black Ma were instantly alive again. They enthusiastically responded to the student's request. Seems like the humans still have good taste. They must have sensed the noble mammon blood in us. Meow. You two are an embarrassment to all demons. If Mammon knew that you two act so desperate to get humans' love, he'd definitely cough out blood in anger. Samuel looked at them with disdain. A woman suddenly saw Samuel standing on Chen Zhao's shoulder and yelped. Wow, such a cute kitty. He's too cute. Can I hug him? Meow. Do you see that? I took over another human. Yet another human has been conquered, haha. My noble plan will soon be realized. Your Majesty, where's your restraint? They finally reached the notarium, but there was a bigger audience than imagined. This was a standard notarium that could seat 5,000 people. Swimming was a pretty popular sport in America, so there were many observers. Chen Zhao could barely find empty seats for his family. Mr. Chen, here, come sit here. The boxing club members waved at Chen Zhao enthusiastically in the distance. They didn't seem to have any seats near them, but they knew to use their strength and kick out 3 guys next to them. Chen Zhao sat in the seat the boxing club made for him. Princess and the others followed suit. Grant also came to the pool. He knew that Eveleigh had hired Chen Zhao as her coach. He wanted to see if Chen Zhao was actually an effective coach. UCLA's swim team was average. They weren't in last place, but they couldn't reach the top either. Earlier, they'd already done the 50-meter and 100-meter freestyle. Their best result was 3rd place, managing to score a bronze medal. Next was Gina Lisby. She was the closest to a professional athlete in the team, but she didn't even get a medal in the 1,500-meter swim. She'd faced even stronger opponents, including a true Olympic candidate. Gina performed poorly. Of course, she was also affected by the other swimmers' water currents. Up until now, UCLA only had a bronze medal for swimming. Most of the UCLA students had already lost. No one wanted to see their athletes lose tragically. Round after round of failure made them lose interest. Finally, it was time for the women's 800-meter freestyle. The swimmers from every school entered the notarium. Eveleigh scanned the audience for Chen Zhao. She finally found Chen Zhao in the center of the crowd. She waved at him. Chen Zhao nodded too. Chapter 359, World Record in an Unofficial Competition. Chapter 359. World Record in an Unofficial Competition. Ready? The judge instructed. All the contestants stood on the platform. When the gun was fired, the 10 contestants jumped into the water simultaneously. Grint looked at Eveleigh. Swimming in the 6th lane, she was the fastest. As a long-distance runner, Grint knew about mid and long-distance swimming too. Mid and long-distance swimming were similar to long-distance running in that they all needed appropriate tactics. An athlete should not swim too quickly at the start, or he or she would very likely run out of stamina halfway. But Eveleigh was too fast. It was clearly not the correct stamina distribution for this swimming competition. Very soon, Eveleigh was at least 10 meters ahead of the rest. At the first 50-meter turning point, she was at least 3 seconds ahead, which was increased to 10 seconds at the second turning point. The referee team had also been watching the competition. Because the contest was half official, there was an electronic timer. The girl in lane 6 used 26 seconds for 50 meters. It's a sprint. She won't have enough stamina to sprint at the end. What did her coach tell her? It's so amateur. Racing at the beginning until she's out of strength. Could it be some kind of tactic? No way. Swimming has developed over so many years. Almost all tactics have been discovered. In the early stages, some people indeed tried to sprint at the start so as to get ahead of the rest, but they lost eventually. Using all strength at the start just isn't the right rhythm for 800-meter freestyle. First 50 meters, 26 seconds, turning 1 seconds. Second 50 meters, 27. 45 seconds, turning 0, 99 seconds. Third 50 meters, 27. 35 seconds. She's already swum 400 meters. She's still maintaining this speed. Her stamina is really good. By then, Eveleigh was already at least 50 meters ahead of the other contestants. She slowed down. 500 to 550 meters, 31 seconds. If she had the correct tactic, she would definitely have a good chance of emerging first, or even producing an excellent result. 700 meters. She sped up again. That's fast. 26, 5 seconds. She's sprinting again. Where did she get the stamina? What? How could she be so fit? Finally, Eveleigh finished the race first. Everyone in the referee team stood up, staring at her in disbelief. The result had yet to be displayed on the electronic screen because none of them could believe their eyes. Eveleigh also looked at the screen, waiting for the result. Finally, after 10 seconds or so, the result appeared. 7 minutes, 59 seconds, and 89 milliseconds. The audience was stirred up. This is fake, right? Impossible. How could this happen? Is this result very good? Someone asked. Are you a fool? Do you know what's the world record? What? 8 minutes and 11 seconds. If the result is real, then this girl would have created a miracle. She's the first woman to hit 8 minutes for 800-meter freestyle, an entire 11 seconds faster than the world record. After about 40 seconds, the second contestant arrived. When she saw the numbers on the electronic screen, particularly the result above hers, she also looked at Eveleigh in astonishment. Eveleigh similarly stared at the screen in bafflement. Even she could not believe that she had achieved such a result. It was unbelievable. How did she do it? Was the result even real? As an amateur swimmer, Eveleigh had just broken the world record. Grint looked at the result in doubt and confusion. Is this the result of that person's training? In 10 days, he created a world record breaker. There was nothing apart from bewilderment. Grint's head went blank. If I found him myself, if I agreed to Eveleigh's condition at that time, would I be able to achieve an earth-shattering result, just like she did? Just then, the referee team announced the result effective. The fact that this match was not even a national-level one, and therefore would not be acknowledged by FINA, would not prevent the result from being exposed. After all, it was a result that would shock the entire swimming world. Just as Eveleigh climbed out of the pool, the referee team and her school representatives approached her. Ms. Eveleigh, we need to conduct a urine test and blood test on you. Are you okay with them? Sure. Eveleigh also wanted to know whether she had achieved such an incredible result because of illegal drugs. The preliminary urine test result came out very soon. It was very normal, with nothing outside the acceptable range. Of course, the preliminary check was very basic. Eveleigh's sample had to be delivered to a specialized laboratory for a more accurate check. Very soon, everyone at UCLA knew that a new world record had just been born in the swimming complex. When Eveleigh stood on the podium to receive her award, she felt as if she was in the Olympics. She began to hesitate, not knowing whether she should become a professional athlete. "Eveleigh, can I have an autograph, please? Eveleigh, take a photo with me. Eveleigh, I like you. Eveleigh." Eveleigh had a hard time passing through the crowd, but she finally found Chen Zhao. "Chun, thank you. Not bad. Chun, continue to be my coach." Eveleigh looked at Chen Zhao. "No, I'll pay." Chen Zhao still shook his head. He would have to spend a lot of time training Tiger. Thus, he definitely would not be able to spend a few hours a day training another person. "Do you plan to become professional?" Chen Zhao asked. Eveleigh's family was very rich. After all, 200,000 was not something that a middle-class family could afford. Of course, if she were to become an athlete, she would be able to achieve outstanding results. "I'm hesitating. What do you think? What will you do in the future?" "Inherit my family business," Eveleigh replied. "All right, go and become an athlete." "Why?" "It'll never be too late to inherit your family business. Spend a few years on what you like first. When you can no longer swim, go back to your family. When you're older, you can even boast to your grandchildren about how playful, no, how grand you've been. If you give up on swimming and go inherit your family business, you'll regret it in the future. Instead of that, you might as well be more decisive now." Chapter 360. Dead? Chapter 360. Dead? "Del, come to UCLA. I need to go out for 2 days. Help me look after Princess and the others. Oh, help me find some things too. I have an emergency." A while later, Del came over and drove Chen Zhao's RV away. Chen Zhao kept Samuel by his side though. Then he went for the pier. Rhea was already there waiting. "You really came?" Rhea was quite surprised by this Chinese man who could risk his life for money. "You sure you won't take the chance to kill me, right?" Chen Zhao really couldn't resist the temptation of $500,000. He could earn all that just by acting. How could he refuse something like this? There was danger, but the reward was high too. Rhea suddenly stabbed at Chen Zhao with a dagger. Chen Zhao reflexively grabbed it. The blade slipped past his fingers and Rhea's wrist cracked. Chen Zhao had dislocated it. "Let go." Rhea was in pain. Chen Zhao let go and took 2 steps back. "What are you doing?" "I just wanted to say that I can't beat you, so you can trust me." Rhea popped her wrist back in place. She seemed practiced. "You're too extreme. I thought you were actually trying to kill me." "If I really wanted to kill you," Rhea said, "I would have a dozen snipers around here. You wouldn't be able to run." Is your wrist okay? I can heal it for you." "It's okay. Let's go." Rhea led Chen Zhao onto the boat, and they set sail. She looked at the cat in Chen Zhao's arms. "You sure you want to bring it?" Chen Zhao brought Samuel because he wanted to go directly into hell. It was also to be guarded against Rhea. If she really wanted to kill Chen Zhao, he wouldn't show any mercy. He'd have Samuel activate his territory pollution directly. "He's my guardian angel." Chen Zhao petted Samuel's head. "Are you ready? I'll tie you up later." "Sure. Just don't use chains." If he struggled, he could break regular hemp or nylon rope. But if he was actually chained up, he'd be fucked. "Act realistically when my sister comes up later. If she sees through it, I'm not going to pay." "Of course. I'll make sure everyone thinks I'm dead." Another boat approached from the distance. Rhea tied Chen Zhao up. "See if this is tight enough." "It's good." To be honest, Rhea wanted to see how Chen Zhao would escape too. She prepared and tied the rope herself. It was different than those escape artists. It seemed like Chen Zhao wasn't worried at all. Rhea couldn't figure out where his confidence came from. The 2 boats met. Rena and some bodyguards boarded Rhea's boat. "Why is he here?" Rena was taken aback when she saw Chen Zhao tied up on the deck. "So you can take your anger out on him," Rhea said. With your order, I'll throw him into the sea. Rena hesitated. Wait, I want to talk to him. Chen Zhao looked up coldly at her. I don't want to talk to you. Do you want to live or die? Rena looked at him, still unable to suppress the angry fire in her eyes. Thinking of the humiliation she endured last night, she was furious. Even though she'd caused it herself, she was still angry. Chen Zhao was the first person who hit her in her entire life. What do you want now? Be my swim coach and I'll let you go, Rena said. Behind her, Rhea froze. She never imagined that Rena would make this request. How could he be a coach? Rhea had investigated. He seemed to be a doctor. Rhea didn't know, but as a swimmer, Rena had participated in today's meet and even the same event as Eveleigh. How could she not know? Chen Zhao's student not only won first place, but she'd also created such a shocking record. Rena looked at Chen Zhao with blazing eyes. If Chen Zhao could be her coach, she'd also be the one watched by thousands. The entire world would know her name. She would be the brightest star of the swimming circle. Every girl had their own dream, and Rena wasn't an exception. She'd once thought that she was good enough. She was the most popular girl at UCSF and thought that she was the center of the swim team. She anticipated becoming the center of attention again in today's meet. But the result was completely different. She didn't become the focus. She was only in the background to make the star more obvious. She was under Eveleigh and her record. Eveleigh was the first woman in the world to swim under 8 minutes for this event. Rena was very jealous and she asked around. Eveleigh's swimming had always been average. She couldn't even reach a professional level, let alone break a world record. But 10 days ago, she hired Chen Zhao as her coach and had today's shocking result. Rena also wanted to enjoy this fame. After the meet, she looked for Chen Zhao. She didn't expect that her sister had captured Chen Zhao. How much did that Eveleigh give you? I won't give you any less. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. No matter how much money, it couldn't be easier than today's money. Don't even think about it, Chen Zhao said gravely. I'd rather die than be your coach. You really think I won't kill you? I don't need you to do it. I'll do it myself. Chen Zhao stood up, making Rena retreat in fear. She knew how good Chen Zhao was at fighting. She didn't want to get beaten up again. The bodyguards quickly went before her. I'll haunt you as a ghost, Chen Zhao called out to Rena. With that, he rushed to the deck and jumped off. Rhea's lips twitched, thinking, this is too overdramatic. Rena will figure it out easily. But the situation changed instantly. A huge creature broke out of the waters. It was a killer whale. Everyone yelled in shock. The whale was so big that it gave them goosebumps. It rushed out of the water and bit Chen Zhao. Ah, help, help, ah. Everyone froze. Half of Chen Zhao's body was inside the whale's mouth, and he screamed for help. Rhea was dumbfounded. She just watched Chen Zhao get taken away. A blood-red trail was left in the water. Finally, the whale sank into the water with Chen Zhao. Chapter 361. I swear in the name of God. Chapter 361. I swear in the name of God. Dead. Why? Why is he just dead? Both Rena and Rhea were astonished. They could not believe the outcome. Rhea originally thought that Chen Zhao could escape in the sea. Nobody expected such an accident to occur. An enormous killer whale had actually been waiting for him in the sea. Once he jumped into the sea, he was bitten by the killer whale. In the sea, nobody could survive a killer whale's attack. At the moment, Chen Zhao, whom they thought had already been torn into pieces, was sitting on Amon's back. Since they last met half a month ago, Amon had grown in size again. Half a month ago, he was 15 meters long, but now he was already 20 meters long and weighed 40 tons. Indeed, Amon was a real giant even in the sea. No animal could be compared to him apart from blue whales. Chen Zhao fed Amon all the remaining wyvern meat. He could not understand the growth of Amon, Princess, and Walter. Since Princess became a hybrid demon, she had been growing at an increasing rate. Compared to her, Walter's growth was much more normal. Of course, he was only normal compared to Princess. Nevertheless, Their growth was still too weak before Amon. Chun Zhao had asked Dell to get him some fake blood props which looked really realistic. The people on the yacht must be thinking that he was dead. It was about time to go to hell. Chun Zhao lifted Samuel and said, "Samuel, summon me to hell." Immediately, the sky darkened. Chun Zhao realized that he was in the sky. But what was below his feet? It was a whale. It was a whale whose fin was bigger than its body, an enormous whale that was soaring in the air with its flippers. The whale below his feet, which was over 100 meters long, was Amon? Amon was also stunned. Why am I back in hell? It's so tiring. I only want to float in the sea, not fly in the sky. Forget it. Let me fall to death. Chun Zhao was similarly stunned. What was happening? When he was summoned in the past, there were also other demons beside him, but none was summoned to hell alongside him. Moreover, the demons in the human world should be projections. Amon's true body should be somewhere in hell. Was the whale below Chun Zhao Amon's true form, or just a projection? Amon, it's not the time to give up. Land first. After I go down, you can fall to death yourself, Chun Zhao said gently. If it was Beelzebub or someone else, Chun Zhao would not be worried. However, it was Amon. Chun Zhao was really anxious about his own safety. But I don't want to move my wings. It's too tiring. Chun Zhao could feel the two of them falling at an incredible speed. Samuel, where are you? Come out, I'm going to die. Amon, calm down. Think about it. When I return to the human world, you can stay in the sea again. Aren't you happy? Aren't you delighted? When are you returning? After a day? A day? It's so tiring. Forget it. Let me die now. Chun Zhao really did not know how Amon had managed to survive until today. Chun Zhao cursed Amon in his mind. Suddenly, a shadow spread out from the forest below them and crept to Amon's shadow on the ground. Then, Amon's body stopped in the air. He was clearly overjoyed. This feels amazing. I can stay in the air without using any strength. The shadow below them turned into a solid hand, which extended toward the sky and supported Amon on it. Amon's 100-meter body was large enough, but he looked as tiny as a bean sprout on the palm. As for Chun Zhao, he was as insignificant as a speck of dust. Chun Zhao climbed down from Amon's back and stepped onto the shadow-transformed palm. It felt as real as if he were standing on land. The shadow palm lowered gradually and finally dissipated into nothingness. Amon lay on the ground, motionless. It's great. I'll just rot like this. Chun Zhao rolled his eyes and ignored Amon. He was deep in a dense forest. Suddenly, the trees around him turned alive. Trees of varying heights turned into tree monsters. Their branches became arms and their roots became legs. They all looked pretty old, with vines dropping down like an elder's beard. Even their leaves were yellow and withered. Lost soul, this is the kingdom of the sublimes, in which sleeps the supreme king. You shall be sacrificed, with great honor, to our king, the highest award one could receive. Please accept your fate. Fuck off, he's my guest. Suddenly, a deafening roar was heard from the depth of the forest. The tree monsters quickly rooted in fear and turned back into trees, as if they had never appeared. It felt great to have a superior protector. Hey, one of you, come and lead the way. Where's your boss? Mazahi, bring him to me. I promise I won't eat you. I swear in the name of God. A face appeared on the trunk of the old tree monster and said to the depth of the forest, Dear King Samuel, your petty servant is but old and unable to leave this land. Please forgive me. Only a fool would believe a demon king who swore in the name of God. Show me the direction. I'll go myself, Chun Zhao said. Honored guest, the path where the shadow grows shall lead you to our hibernating king. Where the shadow grows? Chun Zhao inspected his surroundings. He realized that some of the soil was especially dark, as if someone had spilled some ink on it. The further he walked along the colored path, the darker the soil became. After a while, Chun Zhao saw many skeletons, presumably from different kinds of organisms, on the ground. Suddenly, a huge carcass appeared before him, which was even bigger than Amon's true form. The carcass was filled with wounds, and Chen Zhao could not tell what it was. From its injuries, it should have just been killed within the last few hours. Chen Zhao stopped and stared at the carcass. Suddenly, the belly of the carcass was opened and a black shadow charged out. Samuel. Samuel's true form was not as big as Chen Zhao had expected. He looked just like when Chen Zhao had first summoned him, except that he now had a single horn on his head and a pair of wings on his back instead of a single wing. Samuel? Human, you're finally here. Aren't you hibernating? Chen Zhao asked. Yes, I hibernate for 6 hours every day. That's called hibernation? Chen Zhao was speechless. It was just normal sleep. To him, anything less than a few hundred or a few thousand years should not be called hibernation. Stop the nonsense. Give me the offerings. Wait, where's the castle? Didn't you say that you've specially built a castle to welcome my arrival? Chapter 362, Gift a Castle. Chapter 362, Gift a Castle. Look up, look up. Chen Zhao did so. What was in the sky? There didn't seem to be anything. Where? Come to my back. Chen Zhao went on to Samuel's back, and he brought Chen Zhao into the air again. Samuel was very fast. Chen Zhao just felt that the mountains were covered in fog, and they passed through layers of clouds. Samuel, why did Amon get summoned too? It's my first summoning, Samuel answered. I didn't grasp the ritual's power fully, and you were standing on Amon, so he got summoned too? Chen Zhao was now sure that this was an unreliable demon king. Where are we going now? The castle that I'm gifting to you. Why are you gifting it to me? I can't take it back. Yeah, you can. I'll just expand your spatial ring. Then why are we in the sky? My castle for you is in the sky. Finally, Chen Zhao saw a huge castle standing among the clouds. The majestic black and white building was a sky castle that should only belong in legends. This was the most majestic building Chen Zhao had ever seen before. Other than incredible, he couldn't think of any other way to describe it. There were inverted rocks below the sky castle. It looked like some mountain had been ripped out of the ground. When Chen Zhao landed on the sky castle, his legs actually trembled. It wasn't fear, it was excitement. Just then, a group of inferior demons swarmed out of an arched gate. Come over here and meet your new master. The inferior demons knelt down. There were probably 1,000 demons in the dark mass. Master. Under Samuel's lead, Chen Zhao walked into the gate. There were a dozen wyverns of various sizes on the empty space within the castle. These inferior demons are helping you take care of wyverns, Samuel said. I can't take care of so many wyverns and demons, Chen Zhao said. It's okay. I gave them 10 years of food. If you still need them in 10 years, you can exchange things from the human world with me. This castle is huge. I won't have anywhere to put it even if I bring it to the human world, right? You can put it in the space crevice. Chen Zhao's eyes brightened. Yes, he could let Blackie live in this castle. He handed over the things that he'd promised Samuel. To be honest, he felt like his gifts were too cheap. It was even a bit embarrassing. But, even more embarrassingly, Samuel was actually sniffing the catnip with an expression of pleasure. Fine, as long as you like it. Right, where's your subordinate that knows the soul-healing spell and the one that helps you raise pets? They're hurrying over right now. Samuel looked intoxicated after enjoying the catnip. Inferior demons and wyverns had a strange relationship. These tamed wyverns would eat the demons that accidentally got close. If inferior demons reached a certain number, they would also be fed to wyverns. However, they were also the ones taking care of wyverns. The latter were omnivores and ate everything. However, they were even less intelligent than dogs and could only be used as rides. They couldn't be trained to do anything else. Chen Zhao didn't even dare to get close to them, lest he gets bitten. It took a few hours just to explore the entire castle. Just then, Samuel notified Chen Zhao that his subordinates had arrived. When he went downstairs, he saw 2 demons. One was in a soul state. It looked like a banshee. Banshees were all female, but this one was male and looked very ugly. The other demon was short and fat. He was only half of Qin Zhao's height and red with a pair of hooves and a round belly. He held a whip in his hands and had horns on his head. You two introduce yourselves. Hello, Living Lord. I am Mikoff, the Soul Master. Living Lord, are you interested in lending me your soul to study? Mikoff used an extremely gentle voice to talk about such a scary thing. Who would be introduced in lending him their soul? Mikoff, he's my guest, not your lowly toy. You should show enough respect. Otherwise, I'll throw you out. Yes, I'm sorry, respected Living Lord. Mikoff was apologizing, but his tone hadn't changed at all. It was still so eerie. Hello, respected Living Lord. I am the Shepherd Sanlo. Respected Living Lord, Mikoff asked, how can we help you? I want to learn soul heal. Then what will you pay? If it's your soul, I'd be happy to teach it to you. What about this? Qin Zhao took out a demonic crystal. Mikoff's eyes flashed, but he quickly shook his head. Not enough? Then give me a price. 10 years' worth of demonic crystals, Mikoff said. Qin Zhao thought he'd state an exorbitant price, but it was only 10 years. Okay. He glanced at Sanlo. I have some pets, and I would like advice on how to make them listen. Living Lord, I can teach you the wild beast's language. Oh, this skill is useful. Sanlo was obviously more ethical than Mikoff. He only asked for one demonic crystal. Qin Zhao had thought that, as Samuel's subordinates, they'd be superior demons like Beelzebub, Zophie, and Horus. In reality, they were only mid-level demons, like Beelzebub, Raymond, and the others. Sanlo didn't even know how to fight. He was a worker demon and only survived in hell because of Samuel's reputation. As for Mikoff, he was a demon whose body had been ripped off. He had a cool title, Soul Master, but he actually wasn't much better at fighting than Sanlo. They were both kind of failures. Mikoff talked quite earnestly after getting paid. He even took out his treasure, an incomplete soul, to demonstrate to Qin Zhao personally. Soul recovery was an easy and basic spell. With Qin Zhao's current magic power, it wasn't hard at all. After learning it, he turned towards Sanlo. Living Lord, this is a skill stone. If you eat it, you'll be able to learn the beast's language directly. Qin Zhao took the stone and studied it all over. This is edible? Of course. It's a stone, isn't it? The skill stone is a stone, but every creature can digest it. It won't harm you at all. Qin Zhao turned towards Samuel. Is that true? It's edible, Samuel said with confidence. Since Samuel said so, Qin Zhao would put it on the side for now. Chapter 363, Alive and Well. Chapter 363, Alive and Well. Have you found his corpse? Rhea asked. Miss, no. He's probably eaten whole. It's impossible to find him, the bodyguard beside Rhea replied. He was also a witness for the accident a day ago. He saw the entire tragedy. The killer whale was way too big. It only had to open its mouth slightly to swallow a person. Qin Zhao was bitten firmly by the killer whale and dragged for a few hundred meters, leaving a path of blood behind. Even if he was not swallowed, he would not have survived. Rhea did not have much hope either. After receiving her bodyguard's reply, she shook her head. Search for 6 more hours. If you still find nothing, ask all the ships to come back. Rhea sighed. How's Rena? She doesn't even dare to touch water now. She's probably shocked. After all, she had seen a living human being eaten by a killer whale right before her eyes. To the somewhat immature Rena, it was a horrifying sight. Because of this, Rhea really hoped that it was just a fake show arranged by Qin Zhao. She already regretted her plan. She originally wanted Qin Zhao to fake a show, so that Rena could forget about what had happened 2 days ago. Nobody expected Qin Zhao to jump into a killer whale. Although killer whales would not usually assault humans, it could happen. The killer whale was truly enormous, a real giant in the sea. Therefore, Rena was now hydrophobic. She did not even dare to go near a swimming pool, not to mention the sea. Human, give me your spatial ring. Let me expand it. Chun Zhao passed the spatial ring to Samuel. The ring just floated before him. Just then, Samuel's single horn fired a beam of black light. A black lightning bolt appeared and zapped around, as if it was going to tear space apart before disappearing. Chun Zhao could not understand Samuel's spell, but it surely looked advanced. Many magical inscriptions appeared, interconnected, around the ring. It looked like those special effects in movies. Nonetheless, there was no screen at the moment. Everything was happening right before Chun Zhao. After a while, all the magical inscriptions landed on the ring and many imprints emerged. Done, Samuel said, as if he had just done something insignificant. The spatial ring landed on Chun Zhao's hand. He put the ring on, which felt somewhat different. But he could not tell how it was different. Amon's still in your territory. Can you get him here? Let him lie there. When the time's up, his true form and projection will both return to where they should be. Oh, I need a hell beast skeleton. I think you have a lot. Why do you need a skeleton? Decoration. 24 hours passed very quickly. Chun Zhao returned to the human world again. He was still in the sea, with Samuel's projection atop his head. Chun Zhao could feel that Amon was back as well, but they were not in the same place. Amon, where are you? Come and fetch me now. It's so far. I don't want to go there. Quickly, Chun Zhao was frustrated by his conversation with the lazy Amon. Chun Zhao was presumably very far away from the shore and could not possibly swim back. Suddenly, a yacht appeared in the distance. A plan suddenly flashed across Chun Zhao's mind and he shouted, "Help! Help! Miss, someone's calling for help in the sea." Stunned, Rhea asked, "Here? A drowning person?" "I don't know. It's too far away." "Drive the yacht there," Rhea said. As the yacht went closer, Rhea finally saw the person in the sea. It was actually Chun Zhao. How was he still alive? It was impossible. "It's you?" "Huh. Miss Rhea, what a coincidence." Rhea stared at the floating Chun Zhao. He did not look like he had just spent an entire day in the sea at all. "Air, can you pull me onto your yacht?" Rhea squinted and looked at Chun Zhao. "Tell me how you escaped from the killer whale first." Rhea could smell something fishy. Even if Chun Zhao had really survived the killer whale's attack, he should be gravely injured and would not possibly have survived for 24 hours in the sea. Also, had he been carrying the little cat on his head all this while? "Let me up first, and I'll tell you." "Tell me first, and I'll let you up?" Chun Zhao sighed. The woman was really troublesome. "Forget it. I don't need you to save me anymore. Just leave." Rhea trembled in anger. This bastard's so irritating. I'm saving his life, and this is how he treats me, as if I'm begging to save him? "Drive the yacht away," Rhea said. "Miss, are we really going to leave him here?" "He won't die," Rhea said. "Shit, that woman really sailed the yacht away. Amon, why ain't you here yet?" Sigh. "It would be great if I died in that forest in hell. I'm so tired. Why couldn't I just die? When I get back to the shore, I'll send you to God right away," Chun Zhao shouted in annoyance. "Miss, the sonar just detected a very large thing." "What?" "No idea, but it's very fast." "Submarine?" "From its movement and the ripples, it should be a whale." "Killer whale?" Rhea took her binoculars. In the distance, a 3 meters long black fin appeared on the surface. It was the killer whale yesterday. Rhea's expression changed. "Quick, go back." "Miss, the killer whale's too big, about the same size as our yacht. If it attacks us, we'll be in danger." "Go back," Rhea insisted. Suddenly, however, Rhea saw Chun Zhao stand up on the sea. He held onto the killer whale's fin and made a hand signal at Rhea. Rhea finally got it. Chun Zhao and the killer whale were on the same team. Follow the killer whale, and that person. "Miss, the killer whale's way too fast." Rhea watched as Chun Zhao moved further and further away, eventually disappearing out of her sight. She could not help but grit her teeth firmly. It turned out that she and her sister had been deceived. It was Chen Zhao's plan all along. It had caused Rena to cry for an entire night and even develop psychological trauma. Returned to the dock, Rhea would like to chase Chen Zhao, but the yacht did not have much power. There was no way she was going to catch up with Chen Zhao and Amon. However, Chen Zhao was not going to the dock, but rather to Angel Beach. Chapter 364. Your lover even found your home. Chapter 364. Your lover even found your home. Chen Zhao didn't have Amon show himself this time. Instead, Chen Zhao swam back from 1 kilometer away from land. However, a few hundred meters later, the coastal rescue team discovered him. Coincidentally, it was Fali who came to save him. When Fali saw that it was Chen Zhao, she was shocked. "Chun, how come it's you? Where did you swim from?" "I rode him on around. He grew again, so I didn't have him get close to land." Fali didn't feel like helping Chen Zhao. With his fitness, this distance didn't pose any danger. "Where's your car?" "I had Del drive it away. Princess and the others are at his house too." When he got to land, Chen Zhao went straight to the office. He'd been busy the entire day and needed to rest. He waited for Fali to get off work so they could go home together. The women on the team were extremely warm toward Chen Zhao, bringing him water and such. This made the guys stare at him coldly. Ignoring the fact that he'd taken Fali, the prettiest woman there, he was flirting with the other women now too. This was too much. On the way back, Chen Zhao sat shotgun. "Chen, did you bring a gift for Dad?" "Yes." "What is it?" "A pot of flowers." "Flowers? My dad doesn't like taking care of that. He doesn't have that kind of interest." Fali thought that Chen Zhao's gift was horrible. Chen Zhao chuckled. "Don't worry. Your dad might not like it, but he definitely won't toss it. At least, your mom won't make him throw it away." "Why?" Chen Zhao whispered something in Fali's ears, making her furrow her brows. "You troublemaker. If you think it's not a good gift, I'll throw it away." "Fine, fine. You're so clever. Okay?" They drove to Del's home. Del had them stay for dinner. He also called over Risfar, Laura, and their 2 kids. Of course, their beloved Laugher came too. After dinner, Chen Zhao, Del, and Risfar sat around to chat. "Right, Del," Chen Zhao said. "Can you help me do something?" "Chun, what is it?" Risfar asked. "Maybe I can help." "Please, Johnny. I already owe you enough." "I can make you owe more," Risfar said, smiling. "Actually, it's easier for Del. There's a young man fresh out of college. He wants to become a professional boxer. I hope you can sign him. I believe he'll perform well." "Sure," Del answered easily. "Give me his information. I'll send it later." "When do you 2 have time?" "We can go hunting in the mountains," Risfar suggested. "Fali and I are going to Sacramento in 3 days. We'll be there for a few days." "Why are you going there?" "Her father's birthday." "Then what about after you come back?" "I should be free." "Okay, then it's decided. After Chun comes back, we'll go hunting." "Are you sure we can hunt it this time?" Chen Zhao wasn't really familiar with California's laws, but he seemed to remember that you needed a license. You could only hunt in the autumn too. "It's no trouble. Just ask Del." Risfar glanced at him. Del shrugged. "You just have to pay a fine beforehand to the forestry department, and it's all good?" "How much is it?" Chen Zhao asked curiously. $10,000. Basically, hunting had gradually become the game of the wealthy. No matter how American animal protection laws changed, it could only restrict the average man. To the wealthy, it only changed how much money they had to pay. That was it. After they got home, Chen Zhao didn't waste a second in pulling Fali to the sofa. Fali knew how Chen Zhao was. He would have sex every single day unless her period came. As soon as her period ended, Chen Zhao would come on even stronger. He hadn't touched her in 3 days now. As soon as they got home, his true nature showed. "Chen, did you remember what I said when you went there?" "What did you say?" "I want the skeleton of a beast." "Oh, yeah." "Did you bring it back?" "Yeah." "Where is it?" You'll see it when we move into our new home, Qinzhao said. I can't bring it out now. What is it like? Anticipation filled Feilei's face. She really couldn't wait anymore. Qinzhao looked around. Princess, move the sofa a bit. Princess pushed the sofa aside, opening up empty space in the living room. Qinzhao got up. He pointed at the space. The next moment, a huge skull appeared in the living room. Merely the skull was 2 meters long. It obviously wasn't from a regular creature either. There was a pair of horns on it and 2 huge cuspids in the mouth. Wow, Feilei's eyes shone. What creature's skull is this? She wasn't afraid. After all, she'd experienced some supernatural things before. It wasn't surprising to see a weird skull with Chen Zhao anymore. She'd seen living ones before. A dead one was nothing. How big is it in total? Around 10 meters long, Chen Zhao said. It should be some crawling creature. We can put it in our basement. Is there a living one? Feilei looked at Chen Zhao with bright eyes. After seeing the dead one, she wanted to see a live one. Chen Zhao was silent for a bit. After we move, I'll show you a legendary creature. Legendary creature? You mean something that appears in myths? Chen Zhao nodded and Feilei clung to him. What is it? I'm not telling you now. There are less than 10 days. You'll definitely know by then. There are 10 more days. It's soon, but I can't wait. It won't be fun if you know now. Plus, I can't show you even if I want to. It's not with me right now.
Fine.
Feilei was curious, but she didn't press on. The night was long. Shortly after Chen Zhao and Feilei returned to their rooms, Moan started up. But just then, Chen Zhao's phone rang. Chinese man. It was Raya's voice. Chen Zhao hung up without saying anything, but his phone rang again. He shut it off without answering and continued with Feilei. But a short while later, a woman's voice sounded outside the house. Raya, your lover found your home? Feilei said, riding Chen Zhao. Princess, Chen Zhao called from inside the room. Chase the person away. Chapter 365. I'm not here to borrow money. Chapter 365. I'm not here to borrow money. Roar. When Princess appeared, horror was written all over Raya's pretty face. She sat on the ground and began to scream as loudly as she could. Having never seen such a terrifying creature before, she backed away with her buttocks rubbing against the ground. However, after she backed away for a meter, Princess stopped chasing her. Instead, Princess sat at the door and stared at her. Only then did Raya stand up. She still took a few steps back and watched Princess from a distance. Not a wild bear. No, a wild bear couldn't have entered this place. It was Beverly Hills, after all. It was impossible for such a dangerous beast to appear here without alarming the security. Is the bear his pet? Mr. Chun, come out. Can you hear me? Raya shouted at the villa. Fuck. Half naked, Chun Zhao stood at the windows and cursed, Are you insane? Raya saw Feilei, who only had her bra on, beside Chen Zhao and roughly knew what they had been doing. Come down. I need to speak to you. Give me half an hour. No, I want to speak to you now. You either leave now or wait for half an hour. Ask the bear to leave. I'll wait for you inside your house. Princess, come back. Princess turned around and left. Raya was still somewhat scared of Princess, not daring to go too close to her. After entering the living room, Raya realized that there were many frightening eyes staring at her. Immediately, she regretted coming in. Nevertheless, euphoric screams were heard from the bedroom on the second floor very soon. Another woman received mental pollution from Chan Zhao and Feilei. Raya bit her lower lip, her eyes filled with anger. Half an hour later, the voices still did not stop. Raya could not take it anymore. It was too torturing. No normal lady could tolerate it. Raya only regretted not bringing a gun. If she did, she would definitely charge into the bedroom and kill the bitch couple. Mr. Chun, it's almost an hour. Raya had to remind Chen Zhao. However, the screams in the bedroom became increasingly loud and hurried. Finally, in an eruption, the voices subsided. After a few more minutes, Chen Zhao walked out in a pair of loose shorts. Rhea glanced at Chen Zhao's strong and aesthetic body and swallowed some saliva uncontrollably, after which she quickly lowered her head. She could feel her cheeks growing hot and sweat seeping out from her forehead. She did not even know where to place her hands. Indeed, she looked very panicked before Chen Zhao. "Miss Rhea, please sit. Why are you standing?" Rhea tried to calm down. "Mr. Chun, I need your help. Look at my family of pets. My life's already tough enough. If you're here to borrow money, the door is over there. Please." Rhea was furious. "Would I even borrow money from you? I'm not here to borrow money." "Oh, why didn't you say earlier?" Rhea realized that she would always become very impatient in front of Chen Zhao. "Because you were dragged away by the killer whale 2 days ago. My sister has hydrophobia now." "Wait, if you're here to question me, I don't accept it. You asked me to make it realistic, and I did. Wasn't that realistic? And then you tell me your sister has hydrophobia. What's this?" "I'm not here to blame you." Rhea was even more impatient. "Can you let me finish first?" "Fine, go on. I want you to appear before Rena," Rhea said. "Isn't that simple? Bring your sister to me, no?" The thing is, Rena isn't even willing to leave the house now. She closes herself in a small black house every day. With her temper, she'll only be a pest to the world if she comes out. I feel that keeping her in the small black house isn't that bad after all. Chen Zhao did not care about Rena at all, by whom he was truly disgusted. "Rena isn't as bad as you think. She's just a kid. Stop whitewashing your sister. Don't forget what she did to me. Also, is your definition of kid a bit too broad? Just tell me what you want so that you can go and see Rena. It's late. Goodbye." Rhea slapped a check onto the table. Chen Zhao looked at it and sat back onto the sofa. "I'm busy tomorrow morning, so afternoon. Time, venue. Oh, you're not trying to deceive me and kill me, are you? I want you to go tonight." Rhea sounded firm. "Do you know what time it is now? Not even 10. Are you sure that if I go now, she won't think I'm an evil spirit looking for revenge?" Rhea still compromised in the end. "Tomorrow afternoon. I'll send someone to fetch you." In the morning, Fali went to work. Chen Zhao slowly got out of bed. "Blackie, I got you a very large castle when I visited Hell. You don't have to build it yourself anymore." "How big is it?" "About 5 or 6 times bigger than your last one, and 3 to 4 times taller," Chen Zhao said. "What? I think the space crevice isn't large enough." "Then how?" "I need to expand the crevice. Lend me some demonic crystals." Chun generously gave Blackie some demonic crystals as he asked, "By the way, apart from the castle, there's also about 1,000 underlings, and maybe a dozen wyverns. Can I place them in the crevice too?" "Sure. Anyway, you don't have to rush. Let's go to the hospital first and heal your patient." "Dr. Aunts, are you the doctor checking my father today?" Suma leaders walked into the ward and saw her father's doctor before the bed. Aunts Ronan turned his head and looked at Suma. "Miss Suma, is there another doctor apart from me?" Don't we have a new neurosurgeon a few days ago? He's an Asian." "Our hospital does not have an Asian doctor, not even an Asian staff," Aunts Ronan said. "Are you sure he said that he's a neurosurgeon?" "Yes, I am certain," Suma said with a serious tone. "What did he do to Mr. Wate? Check-up? Anything else?" "He inserted very thin needles into my father's head." Aunt's expression changed. "You sure?" "Yes, doctor. Is he not a doctor in the hospital?" "Absolutely not. If there's a new neurosurgeon, I cannot possibly not know it." "But why would he pretend to be a doctor here? Was he wearing a doctor's white coat?" "No, he was in casual wear, but there was a female doctor beside him. She's from this hospital. I've seen her a few times before. It's the female doctor who told me that he's the new neurosurgeon here." Chapter 366, Conflict. Chapter 366, Conflict. "Do you know which doctor is it?" What department? A very pretty female doctor, Suma leaders said. I think her name is Four. Dr. Four? Are you sure it's her? Yes, I'm sure. Miss Suma, please come with me, Aunt Ronan said. I'll give you an explanation. Aunt wasn't sure what Four's motive was. He wasn't sure if there were any negative effects either. However, a doctor from another department was taking an outsider to do unpredictable tests and treatment on his patient. He must take this seriously. Otherwise, if anything happened to the patient, he would definitely be the one responsible as his doctor. Aunt knocked on Four's office door. Seeing him outside, Four immediately stood up. Mr. Aunt, how may I help you? Four, you must explain why you took an outsider to see my patient. Four froze. This was difficult. How could she explain? She couldn't explain at all. The most important thing was that she'd lied in this. Now that her lie was revealed, she felt the trouble coming. That's my friend. He's an expert in this. I think he can awaken the patient. For could only lie through her teeth, continuing to turn Chen Zhao into an expert. If Aunt knew that Chen Zhao was an illegal doctor, the problem would worsen. By expert, do you mean a Chinese man who likes poking needles into people's heads? How can you call that unscientific thing medical knowledge? How did you get your license? How did you get into UCLA? Aunt Ronan was furious. Hearing Aunt's unfounded accusations and insults toward Chen Zhao, Four lost her temper too. Dr. Aunt, I understand if you don't accept traditional Chinese medicine and are angry that I found an outsider to interact with your patient. However, you can't deny a medical system. You can't deny something that you do not understand. For had once been a staunch believer in modern medicine, but after getting to know Chen Zhao, she realized that Chen Zhao's methods had shadows of Chinese medicine. Perhaps he was able to have such unprecedented skills because he was an expert in both Chinese and modern medicine. Because of this, for even when I read books about Chinese medicine, unfortunately, the translations couldn't accurately describe the essence at all. Even reading it was difficult. Anyway, I don't allow it. You brought an outsider to interact with my patient without my permission. You must come with me to explain to the director. Suma didn't say anything the entire time. She just stood to the side and watched their argument. For was helpless. She could only follow Aunt to the director's office. Knock, knock. Come in. When Aunt, Four, and Suma entered, they saw that Director Kathiri and Tim Waltz were both there. Haha, Tim, let me introduce you to the two best doctors of our hospital, Kathiri said, a bit proud. Dr. Aunt, a neurosurgeon. He's the best in this profession and was once the chief physician and doctor in charge of New York Angie's hospital. Then he pointed to Four. For Johnson. I know Dr. Four. I approve of her skills and professionalism. Tim Waltz nodded, continuing, Miss Four, I am the only shareholder of Chantilly Hospital now. I've already bought the entire hospital. Are you willing to become the chief physician of your department? I object. Taken aback, Kathiri stared at Aunt Ronan in shock. Aunt was very talented, but he didn't understand how to act. Before coming to Chantilly Hospital, he'd been kicked out of New York Angie's hospital for offending their shareholder. Now, he was going up against Tim Waltz. This was practically suicide. Aunt, what are you doing? Tim is the shareholder of Chantilly Hospital. He has the right to appoint anyone, including me, the director. Director, Mr. Waltz, for may be a skilled doctor, but I do not approve of her professionalism. Aunt was emotionless as he spoke. He didn't know to check for people's reactions and didn't notice Tim Waltz's change of expression. Kathiri was nervous for Aunt. Of course, as his favorite, Kathiri still hoped to save Aunt. Why do you suspect Miss Four's professionalism? She brought an outsider to secretly see my patient. He even used methods not proven by science to treat my patient. Kathiri frowned. Four's actions truly were forbidden in the hospital. A doctor from another department getting involved in a doctor's treatment wasn't approved of. Bringing in an outsider to treat a patient was even illegal by law. Director, I suggest firing Doctor. For now and investigating this, Aunt said. I suspect that she and that man have done substantial harm to my patient. The man she brought used acupuncture on my patient. Thus, I seriously suspect that she and the man have harmful intentions." Katheri's expression grew troubled. Tim Waltz had just bought the hospital, and this kind of situation happened under Katheri's watch. It felt like even he was in danger. Deep inside, he blamed Aunts for saying this in front of Tim instead of in private. Wasn't this just to cause trouble for Katheri? But now that everything was revealed, he couldn't cover it up anymore. "Miss Four, can you explain?" "There's nothing to explain. I admit my mistake, but I still insist on my view. Chinese medicine isn't without any benefits. We can't view it as witchcraft just because we don't understand it." "Then I will fire you temporarily and make a final decision after we investigate this thoroughly." "Wait," Tim interrupted. After hearing Chinese medicine and acupuncture, the first person he thought of was Chan Zhao. "Miss Four, the man that Aunts mentioned who performed acupuncture on the patient, is it Mr. Chan?" Chapter 367, Didn't Come at the Right Time. Chapter 367, Didn't Come at the Right Time. "Yes, it's him," For nodded. Katheri looked at Tim Waltz, confused. "Mr. Tim, do you know him?" "Yes, Mr. Chun is the person I admire the most. To me, he's the best doctor. Actually, I bought Chantilly Hospital in the hope that he could become the vice president here," Tim Waltz said, looking at Katheri. He had deliberately told Katheri so, hoping that he could understand the situation. If Katheri still allowed the conflict to continue, the vice president would become president. As a mature and smart man, Katheri clearly understood what Tim meant. "Mr. Tim, since you approve of him, he must be an outstanding doctor," which means Four wasn't wrong. "But Four, the next time you make any decision, do talk to Aunts first lest there is another unnecessary misunderstanding." Katheri was already planning to end the conflict, but Aunts Ronan clearly did not get his intent. "Then what's Mr. Chin's specialty? Where has he worked at? Does he have any contributions? Has he published any papers?" "He's a TCM professor at UCLA, For answered. It was Chen Zhao's only appropriate identity. But I still don't think that his treatment has any effects on my patient. Now I really suspect UCLA Medical School's professionalism." Katheri was really astonished. Aunts was too brave. "Does your family know that you speak like this? If the people from UCLA hear your words, they'll actually dig your ancestors' graves, you know?" Katheri even forgot that someone in this very office had graduated from UCLA Medical School. Four's hair stood up in anger. "Mr. Aunts, do you dare to be responsible for your words?" Everyone had feelings for his or her alma mater. Humiliating Four's alma mater and questioning its professionalism before her had turned her into an irreconcilable enemy. How can a person who performed acupuncture on a patient's head before a thorough checkup be a college's medicine professor? How do you know that he didn't perform a thorough checkup? Do you think that a thorough checkup can only be achieved by a precise machine? Do you think that the only correct data are the ones produced by a machine? Of course, Aunts replied confidently. If a machine judges a person as being dead, must it be accurate? Although that's not guaranteed, it's definitely more accurate than a person's judgment. For looked at Tim Waltz. Tim finally said, "Dr. Aunts, now I start to suspect your professionalism." "Mr. Tim, did I say something wrong? Not long ago, my son was pronounced dead by a machine. His EEG and ECG readings were all 0, but a person insisted that my son wasn't dead. He saved my son from the hands of death and completed a surgery that 4 doctors could not," Tim Waltz said. "Is that person Mr. Chen?" Aunts was surprised. He originally thought that Chen Zhao was only a fraudulent amateur and did not expect him to actually be a doctor. Of course, Aunts still upheld his view. So he's a cardiology expert. Why did he treat a neurology patient? Why can't a cardiology expert be a neurology expert? I don't think that there's a more professional neurosurgeon in this hospital than me. More importantly, I don't think that TCM and acupuncture have any effects on my patient. That's why you're so narrow-minded, For said in response. All right, you two stop arguing. Doctor. 4, Since you think that Mr. Chun can heal Ans's patient, can you invite him here? I didn't say that he can definitely heal the patient. Ans's patient is in a vegetative state. Vegetative state? Kathiri was surprised. After arguing for so long, he discovered that the patient was actually in a vegetative state. It was not a condition that could be actively cured by modern medicine. What's there to argue about? So all you've just said are based on something uncertain, just like how Dr. Ans couldn't wake the patient. I've never promised that my friend definitely can. All right, this thing's over. I believe that Dr. Four and Mr. Chun have no evil intentions. They were just trying to help the patient out of goodwill. Kathiri could only try to reconcile the group and end the argument quickly. Ans still wanted to say something, but Kathiri immediately waved his hand and stopped him. If the conflict were to continue, something unexpected might happen. Chun Zhao had saved Tim's son's life. Even if Ans was correct, could they even send Chun Zhao to the police station? Go out now. Just then, someone stuck his head into the room. Four, are you busy? I need to speak to you. Everyone looked at the person outside the door. Ans immediately pointed at Chun Zhao. You're the person whom Four brought here to treat my patient randomly, right? Huh. Chun Zhao did not expect this to be exposed. Were they in the middle of an argument? Shit, I didn't come at the right time. Chun, why are you here? The nurse told me that you're here. Answer me, why did you perform acupuncture on my patient? Do you know that your action can be very dangerous for the patient? Ans roared and pointed at Chun Zhao as if he had the goods on Chun Zhao. Treatment, of course. Or else. You think I was trying to kill him? Who are you to interfere with my patient? I can wake him up? Ridiculous. He's been in a coma for 5 years. From his EEG, he has almost no brain activities. There is no sign of him waking up. You can't do it, doesn't mean others can't. The data obtained with your machines might not reflect the patient's full condition, Chun Zhao said. So you're saying you can wake the patient up? I can, but because he's been in a coma for too long, he'll probably lose some of his memory. Chun Zhao looked at Suma. Miss Suma, are you sure that you want me to wake your father up? Can you really wake him up? Chapter 368, Awaken? Chapter 368, Awaken?
Yes.
Chun Zhao nodded. Bullshit. Aunt scoffed. You know nothing about the patient's condition? For was worried too. Chun, do you really have a solution? Don't force yourself. The first 2 times that Chun Zhao had come to check on WATE leaders, he'd been clueless. This was why Four worried Chun Zhao had purposely said this so he could get out of trouble. I came today just to awaken the patient, Chun Zhao said. Miss Suma, will you be able to accept it if your father loses a part of his memory? Yes, I can. As long as he can wake up, I don't care if he can remember me. I want him to wake up, instead of sleeping on the bed like a piece of wood. Miss Suma, he's lying to you. Ans tried to convince Suma to be on his side. What if I succeed? Then I'll quit, Ans Ronan said determinedly. Don't. That's boring. How about we do something more realistic? If I win, you give me your salary this month. How about that? Everyone's expressions turned strange. You're such a good doctor. Why do you want someone else's salary? And if you couldn't do it, I'll give you however much your salary is. I don't need your money. I just want you to never step foot inside Chantilly Hospital.
Sure.
Chun Zhao shrugged. Can you prepare a room for me? I don't need a surgery room, just an absolutely silent room. And I hope there's no camera. I'll allow it, Tim Waltz said. WATE leaders was pushed into an ICU room. For stood at the door. Chun, are you sure you don't need help? Or any machines? No need. Please don't disturb me before I come out. With that, Chun Zhao closed the door. Tim Waltz also wanted to see if Chun Zhao really could awaken someone in a coma. Blackie, pull his soul out. Blackie pulled out Wit's soul. The wooden figure appeared before Chun Zhao. Blackie, give me a soul fragment. Chun Zhao took the fragment that Blackie gave him and started extracting the essence from it. If the soul left the body after it died, it would slowly lose its sense of self and memories. This was different from souls left in the human world. Those were formed by human will and contained the deepest impressions. These wills greatly affected the soul's actions. Because of these deep thoughts, their actions would be extreme or radical. This was why most souls left in the human world were known as evil spirits. Blackie's soul fragments were from evil spirits. They obviously couldn't be pieced together like a puzzle to form a complete soul. However, they could be smelted and have their soul essence extracted. To souls, soul essence was the purest nutrition, especially for damaged souls. The essence could heal their injured parts. The essence extracted from a dozen soul fragments filled a small bottle. Chun Zhao poured it on Wit's head and then cast a spell so the essence could quickly fuse into his soul. Nourished by the soul essence, Wit's soul suddenly reacted. It was like enjoying something it was addicted to. It's still not fully mended, Blackie said. There are some cracks in his soul. Only one bottle couldn't fully heal Wit's soul. Chun Zhao created another bottle and repeated his actions. Wit's soul suddenly woke up in shock. It looked around. Where am I? Okay, I'll put it back into his body. Blackie grabbed Wit's soul and stuffed it into the body. Suma broke through the door and rushed in at once. Dad. She looked excitedly at her father on the ground. Who are you? Wate asked, confused. Dad, it's me, Suma. No way. Suma is only 8 years old. Who exactly are you? Why are you here? Everyone stared at each other. He lost too many memories, Chun Zhao said. All memories after Miss Suma turned 8 are gone. He turned toward Wat and said, Sir, you were in a car accident 5 years ago, causing you to fall into a coma until today. You're awake now, but you lost a portion of your memories. You and Miss Suma can have a chat now. We'll go out. Ance was lost and in utter disbelief. This is impossible. How is this possible? No. Tim Waltz and 4 were also shocked. Chun Zhao had actually woken up someone who was in a coma for 5 years. Waking up someone in a vegetative state wasn't unprecedented, but most of the time, they would be in a coma until death. Current science couldn't wake up someone whose brain had stopped running. Of course, a brain that didn't operate wasn't the same as being brain dead. These were two different concepts. The former meant that thoughts had stopped, but there were still brain waves. Brain dead in medical terms meant actual death. It was an even more direct standard for determining death than the heart stopping. Kathiri was in shock too. Mr. Chen's skills were too powerful. He could even wake up someone in a coma. He was practically the first in the world to purposely and actively wake up someone in a coma. Mr. Chen, I apologize for my words earlier, Ance said. I accept your apology, but our bet still holds, Chun Zhao clarified. Of course. Ance nodded seriously. Mr. Chun, I hope I can become your student. After witnessing your skills, I realize that I lack too much. I hope that I can. Stop. I don't have time and don't plan on taking students either. I'm too busy for my own stuff, let alone teach students. But aren't you a professor at UCLA? That's just a title, Chun Zhao said helplessly. I've only taught one class and that was as a substitute. And halfway through the class, one student's heart suddenly stopped. Oh right, it's Mr. Waltz's son, Hoffman. Please don't pressure me. Then can I stay by your side? You don't need to teach me. I just wish to see you treat your patients.
No.
Was this a joke? He was an illegal doctor. Was he going to let this man watch how he collected money? Chapter 369. Did you come here to argue with me? Chapter 369. Did you come here to argue with me? Oh, I also need to treat another patient in Chantilly. He's my student. President, sir. May I? Of course. No problem. Didn't you say that you don't accept students? Ance said in envy. He's my boxing student. By the way, I'm also a boxing coach. If you want to learn boxing, I can teach you. Everyone was speechless. Don't be like this. You're wasting your medical skill. God will punish you. Mr. Chun, can you teach Hoffman boxing too? Tim Waltz did not mind it. Actually, he hoped that Chen Zhao could coach his son. He would be relieved if Hoffman could stay with Chen Zhao. Boxing isn't appropriate for Hoffman. It's best for him to do an hour of aerobic exercise every day. Actually, let him swim. It's more comprehensive. Boxing is mostly anaerobic and isn't good for Hoffman. Okay, I got it. Tim Waltz fully trusted Chen Zhao's judgment now. Chen Zhao did not have to find Tiger surreptitiously this time. Tiger was very cooperative in the treatment. The hospital also turned a blind eye. Tiger's original doctor complained at the start, but very soon, he closed his mouth shut. Mr. Chun, where are you now? Rhea called Chen Zhao. Chantilly Hospital. Are you injured? I'm in a hospital. Why can't I be ill? No. Why do I have to be ill? I'm a doctor. Must I be in a hospital to see a doctor? You're illegal. You can't possibly have a client in a hospital, right? Rhea said. All right, give me the address. I'll go there now. I'll go and fetch you. You can't fetch me. All my pets are here. You want to drive a truck here? The place Rena and I are staying at doesn't have an address. Then send someone here to show me the direction. Soon, Rhea appeared before Chen Zhao. She left her sports car in the hospital car park. Nevertheless, when she boarded Chen Zhao's RV, she was still astonished. You drive the RV around every day? The RV's big. Rhea turned her head and saw Princess, as well as her babies, lying on the floor and watching cartoons. Black Ma and White Ma were also running up and down. Rhea kept silent. Isn't it dangerous to live with so many animals? I'm a professional animal trainer. There's such a saying in China. Those who drown are all good at swimming. Is it? Did you board my vehicle to argue with me? Rhea began to direct Chen Zhao. Indeed, she lived on a remote farm. When Rhea alighted from the van, a few shepherd dogs immediately dashed over and interacted with her intimately. However, when Princess alighted, their hair stood up in fright. When Black Ma and White Ma alighted, they even started to bark wildly. Just then, a quad bike drove toward them. A man with a cowboy hat and in cowboy attire alighted from the bike. Rhea, where did you find him? Is he from the circus? Jimmy, he's here to help Rena overcome her fear. You better respect him. Hey, kid, you can enter the farm, but you better look after your pets carefully. My children won't let off those who behave wildly. Chen Zhao looked at Rhea. Can I beat him up? Jimmy's face darkened as he stepped forward. Rhea immediately extended her arm and stopped Jimmy. Jimmy, do you really think that you're the owner here? Rhea, can you not see my love for you? Jimmy said. Chen Zhao whistled. Rhea frowned and widened her eyes at him. Hurry up. Chen Zhao followed Rhea, while Jimmy was clearly displeased. Rhea, when did I offend him? Chen Zhao walked closer to Rhea and pretended to talk to her intimately. Several meters behind them, Jimmy's eyes were burning with fury. Rhea knew that Chen Zhao did it on purpose. If the woman you like comes down from another man's RV, what would you think? Rhea, don't go to my house at midnight again. All right? Chen Zhao suddenly said loudly. Rhea was so angry that she smiled. Jimmy quickened his steps and grabbed Chen Zhao's shoulder. Kid, I'm going to kill you. Chen Zhao turned his head and looked at Rhea. Can I beat him up now? Jimmy, if you keep doing this, scram out of the farm. Do not think that this place will close down without you, Rhea said with her face darkening. Rhea, you're chasing me away because of him? Am I not as good as him? You're great, but after flirting outside, remember to clean the lipstick marks on your body first instead of pleasing me with another woman's smell. Jimmy's face flushed. Chen Zhao made a weird laugh and followed Rhea into the farm. The main building on the farm was a 2-story wooden house. There was also a stable on the side. When Chen Zhao entered the wooden house, he could even smell horse dung. Of course, it was not disgusting. The environment had greatly diluted the smell. After mixing with natural grass and mud, it actually felt somewhat refreshing. You're rich. Why would you live in such a place? There's nothing bad about this place. It's too noisy in the city. Fine. Rich people like you just have a different style. Qin Zhao shrugged. On the second floor, they stopped outside the outermost room and Rhea knocked on the door. Rena, open the door. Sis, leave me alone, Rena answered in the room. I want you to see a person. I don't want to see anyone. Don't disturb me. Bang. Qin Zhao kicked the door open directly. Rhea roared, what are you doing? Let's be direct. I don't like to waste everyone's time. Qin Zhao stood at the door and looked into the dark room. Ms. Rena, aren't you happy to see me? Aren't you surprised? Ah, ghost. Qin Zhao glanced at Rhea, whose face had already darkened. Look, she's happy. Rhea went into the room at once. Rena, stop shouting. He's not dead. This bastard's not dead. No way. I saw him being dragged away by the killer whale. How can he be still alive? He's a ghost. He came here for revenge. He once said that he wouldn't let me off even if he were to become a ghost. Rena backed away into a corner in fear. The killer whale is his pet. He's arranged all of this and deceived both you and me. Chapter 370. Can I hit him? Chapter 370. Can I hit him? You're lying. How can someone keep a killer whale as a pet? And not in the aquarium but in the sea? Yeah, what kind of person would have a killer whale as a pet? Even Rhea felt a bit crazy, but it was the truth. What could she say? Okay, I came to take revenge. What are you still standing here for? Run. What are you talking about? Rhea was even more furious. I got you here to persuade my sister, not to scare her. But right now, Rena actually brightened as she looked at Qin Zhao. You really didn't die. People were like this sometimes. They didn't know how to think logically and instead had to think the opposite way. Now you're willing to believe me? Why didn't you die? Rena was still confused. Qin Zhao didn't feel like replying to a question that had already been answered. He turned to Rhea. Can I leave now? You think the money is that easy? Fine. What else do you want me to do? If I apologize to you, will you forgive me? Rena suddenly apologized to Qin Zhao. I'll forgive you after getting your sister's check. Can't you reply seriously? My sister is seriously apologizing to you. Oh, I forgive you. You're just patronizing. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to be moved to tears? Is that how I should show that I accept the apology? Can you go horseback riding with me? Rena looked at Qin Zhao tearfully. Don't know how to, Qin Zhao rejected quickly. Horses? He'd never touched that animal before. Plus, if he fell to the ground, the image he'd worked so hard on creating would be destroyed. Great, Rhea said. I finally found something you can't do. You're not allowed to refuse. Will you pay me more? Don't even think about it. Qin Zhao was never much interested in things that he wouldn't get paid for. The three went downstairs. Jimmy, Rhea called. Lead the horses here. Jimmy and the cowboys pulled many horses out of the stable. Rena glanced at Qin Zhao. I'll let you choose first. They all look the same. Whatever. Idiot. Jimmy's voice wasn't quiet. Everyone present could hear it. Can I hit him? Rhea rubbed her forehead. This was Qin Zhao's third time asking it, but she was more pissed at Jimmy. He really couldn't understand the situation. Jimmy usually just rode horses and hunted, or drank in the local town's bar and got into fights. Maybe he thought he was strong, but Rhea had no confidence in him. He was skilled at hurting. Rhea was afraid that Qin Zhao would handicap Jimmy. Hiring another skilled cowboy would waste a lot of time. This was the reason why she endured Jimmy all this time. Asian, you really think you can beat me? Jimmy wasn't willing to admit defeat before Rhea. He thought that he must build up his image again. I can hit him now, right? Qin Zhao asked again. You really want to fight that badly? Rhea was pissed. I called you here to play with my sister, not for you to beat up my men. Rhea, you think I can't beat him? Jimmy was kind of pissed too. Jarl is laying in the hospital right now. He won't get out of bed in 3 months. It's all because of this asshole. You really want to fight with him? Rhea glared at the dumbass Jimmy. Jimmy didn't mention fighting again. I'm a cowboy, not a barbarian. Coward, Chun Zhao said with disdain. Asian, you dare to compete with horseback riding? Are all your men so shameless? Okay, don't compete. Why do you have to mock me? He's him. I'm me. No. Why don't we compete? Chun Zhao said. Let's bet something. Otherwise, it's not fun. How about $1,000? Rhea squinted at Chun Zhao. Are you sure you want to compete against Jimmy? He grew up on a horse. I also grew up watching people on horseback. You live in the plains? No, I saw it on TV. You really want to bet? Jimmy sneered inwardly. Since Chen Zhao wanted to give him free money, there was no reason why he would refuse. Of course. I accept your wager, Jimmy said. Choose a horse. Wait, how will we race? Go around the stable. Whoever does a lap first wins. Any problems? No problem. Chun Zhao nodded. Miss Rhea, which horse is the fastest? Black Cloud. Rhea pointed at a pure black horse. But it was a horse king. No one can ride it. Hey you, big black horse, come over here. You can't call it like that. It's not. Black Cloud suddenly broke free from the cowboy's rope and ran to Chen Zhao. Everyone froze. Did this work? I'll ride you later. You better do good. If you lose, I'll skin you. Mr. Chun, are you sure it can understand? Rena stared at Chun Zhao, speechless. Threatening a horse? Could it even understand? Chun Zhao patted Black Cloud's neck and took its reins. Rhea brought over a saddle and personally helped Chun Zhao set it up. Did you choose yet? Chun Zhao asked Jimmy. I choose fire. Jimmy choose a red jujube-colored horse. If you dare take a step, Chun Zhao yelled at Jimmy's fire. I'll have that bear eat you. Rena, Rhea, Jimmy, and the cowboys were all speechless. Clown, Jimmy scoffed. Miss Rhea, I really want to hit him. What should I do? If you have the skills, then put it in the race, Rhea mocked. Only a barbarian thinks about fighting all day. Chun Zhao got onto Black Cloud, testing it. Rhea taught him on the spot. Lock your thighs, put your feet on the stirrups, hold the reins with both hands. On the other side, Jimmy was obviously much more experienced. He settled into the saddle easily. Go over to the starting line. Go to the starting line. Chun Zhao patted Black Cloud's neck. The black and red horses reached the starting line. Ready? Rhea asked. Wait, I have something to say, Chun Zhao called. What do you want to say? Chun Zhao turned to fire. I wasn't joking. Just try and take a step. That bear will definitely be waiting at the end. Chun Zhao, enough. Stop fooling around. Ready, go. Let's go. Chun Zhao patted the horse's neck and Black Cloud started galloping. Go, go, go. Chapter 371, Cowboy, you lost. Chapter 371, Cowboy, you lost. On the other side, Jimmy also pulled the reins, but fire would not move at all. Click, click. Jimmy began to panic. Fire was unwilling to go and kept marching on the spot. Rena and Rhea were very confused. Was Fire not moving really because of Chun Zhao's threat? But he was a horse. How could he possibly understand Chun Zhao? Increasingly anxious, Jimmy continued to swing the reins. He tried his best, but Fire just would not listen. Chun Zhao rode Black Cloud at a moderate speed. It was his first time riding a horse. He did not dare to ask Black Cloud to charge. If he fell onto the ground at a speed of a few dozen kilometers, he would be injured too. Nevertheless, even though Black Cloud was running slowly, they would still easily win. After all, Jimmy and Fire were still going around in circles at the starting line. The route was a few hundred meters long. Black Cloud took 2 minutes and slowly returned to his original spot. Cowboy, you lost. No, this doesn't count. You cheated, Jimmy shouted. He could not accept the fact that he had lost to an outsider. In his opinion, it was not his mistake at all. It was the damn horse being disobedient. Jimmy also did not know what was going on. When he rode Fire on other days, such a thing never happened. But today, Fire just would not listen to his commands. Can I beat him up now? Rhea glanced at Chun Zhao. She also found the outcome surprising. However, she could not see any problem, at least not on the surface. Chun Zhao did win. Jimmy, don't let me look down on you. Take the gamble and pay the loss. Jimmy trembled in anger and very unwillingly took out $1,000. His hands were shaking and he could feel his heart bleeding. His monthly salary was only $3,000. Nobody would be willing to lose $1,000 just like this. Let's have another round. Jimmy looked at Chun Zhao, unwilling to give up. No, it's too boring. You're obviously not a professional cowboy. It was clear that Chun Zhao would not agree. Jimmy felt like vomiting blood. Chun Zhao would not even give him a chance to take revenge. Is there nothing fun at your farm? Chun Zhao was disappointed. I'm leaving. Rhea hesitated for a while. Why don't you stay here for a bit longer? With his back facing Rhea, Chun Zhao waved his hand. Goodbye. Marguerite, I'm at the entrance. Come out and carry the things. Chun Zhao waited at the entrance for at least 20 minutes. Marguerite finally walked out of the forest. He had already stayed in the forest for more than half a month. His clothes were all black and dirty, and his face was also filled with a messy beard. Come into the van and clean yourself up. I'll carry the things to the cave, Chun Zhao said. Marguerite did not want to be over-polite, but when he boarded the van, he saw Princess's enormous body. Bear. You've met each other before. She's the one that attacked us back then, but I adopted her and her family later. She's called Princess now. She won't bite me, right? No, don't worry. Princess, come and carry the stuff. Marguerite watched as Princess actually stood up and carried a huge bag on her paw. To be honest, Marguerite really envied Chun Zhao. Having lived in the cave for so long, he knew very well the taste of loneliness. If he could tame an animal into a pet just like Chun Zhao, it would make an excellent friend. After showering in the RV, Marguerite felt really refreshed. Chun Zhao had brought him many items, all of which he needed urgently. You had a fight with someone? Marguerite discovered the bruises on Chun Zhao's face. Had a conflict with a girl. She asked a few people to beat me up. Do you want? When Marguerite was in deep trouble, only Chun Zhao was willing to help him. When he was in his most dangerous moment, Chun Zhao even saved him unconditionally. Hence, he was willing to do anything for Chun Zhao. Stop, it's just a girl. Don't be so serious. Chun Zhao looked at Princess. Princess, bring Briar and Bramble away before they dirty Marguerite's new blanket. Chun, how did you tame her? I can't really teach you, Chun Zhao said with a bitter smile. Marguerite had only asked out of curiosity. Never mind. Bring me some game consoles next time. I feel like going insane here. Chun Zhao also wanted to help Marguerite to get out of his predicament, but he did not know how. Marguerite was now being hunted by both legal and illegal parties. His social network was almost useless. By the way, I'm probably going to Sacramento for a few days, so I won't be able to visit you. All right. Marguerite was really grateful to Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao had a long chat with Marguerite, who had such a lonely time in the forest. He had too much to tell another person. When Chun Zhao was about to leave, he could clearly see the reluctance in Marguerite's eyes. Marguerite, the next time I come, I'll bring you a pet.
Sure.
Marguerite nodded firmly, his eyes flashing with anticipation. Why are you so late today? Went to see an old friend. Home was always the most relaxing place. When Chun Zhao returned home, the anxiety that had followed him for the entire day vanished. Chun Zhao hugged Fali and did not harass her, which was really rare. Fali, have you applied for leave? Yes, Robio approved it. How many days? 5. 5 days, that's nice. When we come back, we can get ready to move house. Chun Zhao hugged Fali tightly. Oh, is For going with us? Fali asked. I told her about it, and she said she would consider it. As her sister, you should probably talk to her yourself. Fali took out her phone at once and called For. For, so are you going to Dad's birthday? Let me think about it. Chun and I are leaving the day after tomorrow. What do you have to think about? The day after tomorrow? Isn't it on the 18th? We can't go on Dad's birthday itself, right? I'm really busy here, which means you're not going. I'll think about it. Again? Just tell straight me if you're going or not. All right, I'll try my best. I'll give you a reply tomorrow. Great. I'm waiting for good news. After Fali hung up, Chen Zhao said, if For isn't going, we won't have a driver anymore. If she hears that, she'll die of anger. Perhaps I should teach Princess how to drive, Chen Zhao muttered. Even if she learns it, she won't get a license. You need to have a dream. What if it comes true? Just then, Chen Zhao received a call. He took out his phone and realized that it was from Pierce South. After their cooperation at that time, they had gone their separate ways. Why would Pierce call Chen Zhao? Chapter 372. The story starts with an impotent king. Chapter 372. The story starts with an impotent king. Hi, Chun. Have you eaten? Chen Zhao thought that Pierce South had purposely gone to learn how Chinese people greet each other, but it sounds weird coming from a foreigner's mouth. Pierce, please get to the point. My time is precious. Chen, don't act like we're unfamiliar. After all, we'd gone through dangers and challenges together. I think we're friends now. Friend, please get to the point, Chen Zhao said impatiently. Friend? Chen Zhao really didn't dare to be friends with an old fox like Pierce. I want to buy some things from you. What things? That Chinese painting, the sailor's diary, and copper smoker. Chen Zhao was surprised. He'd sold the smoker long ago, and not for a low price either. The painting and diary were still laying in his spatial ring. Was there anything special about them? He'd planned on hanging the painting in his new bedroom. As for the diary, Mr. Doman had appraised it and said it had no value. No artistic value and no historical value. Chen Zhao suddenly remembered that Pierce hadn't seen that painting before. But as a Chinese, Chen Zhao had naturally chosen it. He'd sold the smoker through a legit channel, Mr. Doman's company auction. It wasn't a secret either. So, Pierce didn't want the painting or the smoker. Instead, he wanted the diary that Mr. Doman had said was valueless. He just mentioned 3 things to confuse Chen Zhao, so he wouldn't raise the price. The diary's owner was a Spanish sailor called Bellard Cambris from the 17th century. It was a diary of his voyages. I'm sorry, Chen Zhao said. I've already sold these 3 things. It seemed that he had to find someone to reappraise the diary and translate the content. Chen, I'm willing to pay a high price. Oh, what price? $400,000. What do you think? Chen Zhao kept rolling his eyes on the other end of the phone. Was Pierce actually stupid or just pretending? Mr. Doman had bought the smoker for $350,000. If Pierce offered $400,000, it meant that he'd only pay $50,000 for the diary that he truly wanted. This could confuse the other party, but once they perceived his true intentions, it would only cause them to be guarded against him. Basically, this old fox wanted to get what he wanted, but also wanted to take advantage. Sorry, bye. Wait, Chen, we can negotiate. Okay, old fox. If you can't move me with your next sentence, I'll put your number on the blacklist. Come on, didn't we have a nice partnership? Bye. Do you want a royal family's treasures? In the movies? Please, it's a real royal family's treasures. Do you know the war for the inheritance of the Spanish throne near the end of the 17th century and the beginning of the 18th? No. Basically, England, France, Netherlands, and Austria all participated in the war. Isn't it the Spanish throne? What does it have to do with these other countries? Anyway, there's a king called Carlos II. He had problems and couldn't have any descendants, so he wanted to pass the throne on to the grandson of Maria Theresa, sister of the French king. But in his will, He required that France and Spain could never be merged. Then England thought that France wanted to take over Europe, so they came out to cause trouble. Also, Leopold I, the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, Duke of Austria, King of Bohemia and Hungary, wanted his younger son Duke Charlie to inherit the Spanish throne. He thought that Spanish Princess Maria Theresa had promised to give up the Spanish throne for her descendants when she married the French King Louis XVI. Get to the point. Chun Zhao's thoughts were in a mess. European royalty loved marriage alliances and then caused a bunch of problems afterward. Anyway, the Spain-French alliance lost to the anti-French alliance. The Philip family was worried they'd all get killed, so they had the son escape from Spain. He began his refugee life on the sea. This son chose the alias Bellard Cambris. And then, on the surface, Bellard Cambris looked like a regular sailor, but he was actually the leader of a pirate fleet. Between 1714 and 1740, he attacked more than 100 merchant ships in the Spanish seas. So you're saying that the diary doesn't have records about royal treasures but pirate treasures? Chun Zhao asked. After a pause, Pierce said, yes. Chun Zhao felt like Pierce was hiding something, so he asked, while fleeing for his life, did this Bellard Cambris bring some memento to prove his identity? If a member of royalty was fleeing, they'd have to bring a royal item with them to prove their identity when needed. This made more sense. Plus, since Pierce had mentioned royal treasures, Chun Zhao refused to believe that it had nothing to do with royalty. Pierce finally spoke. As the grandson of King Louis XII, Philip the Apostle arranged for his son to flee and gave him the King of the Sun Golden Chalice, bestowed upon him by Louis XII. Chun Zhao knew that some Louis XII from France called himself the King of the Sun. He'd been really cocky when he was in power. King of the Sun Golden Chalice? Chun Zhao touched his chin. So you're saying that the most valuable thing is the King of the Sun Golden Chalice? No. It's precious, but you can't sell it for money. Why? It's a magic tool. It was made from the blood of the top 100 strongest witches of that time. Anyone who drinks wine from the cup will receive a witch's entire magic power. This King of the Sun Golden Chalice can produce 100 strong magic warriors. Of course, if the warrior dies, his magic power returns to the cup. You want the King of the Sun Golden Chalice? Yes. Of course, we can share it. But this diary was burned. I appraised it once and the expert said that it's useless, so I didn't save it carefully. My house got set on fire. You must have heard about it, right? My diary was inside my house and was destroyed in the explosion. What? It's such a precious diary. How could you be so careless? I didn't know, Chun Zhao said helplessly. Chapter 373, Departure. Chapter 373, Departure. Do you remember its contents? Pierce South sounded rather desperate. What do you think? Is it really destroyed? Pierce South was still unwilling to give up, hoping that Chun Zhao was just lying. Even if the King of the Sun Golden Chalice really exists, I'm not interested. Actually, Chun Zhao was not uninterested, but he did not want to cooperate with Pierce South. In their last cooperation, Pierce did not do much, and yet he benefited more. Chun Zhao was clearly unhappy about it. It was not how cooperation should work. In the end, Pierce South hung up, disinterested. The next day, Chun Zhao did not go out. Instead, he stayed at home and packed what he could. After all, he was going to move to a new house after returning from the journey. He planned to give his old home appliances to Sienna and the rest. In fact, giving one's old appliances and furniture to others is quite a common thing and not embarrassing at all. When some people are about to move, they will even tell their neighbors to come and take their unneeded furniture if they want them. They might donate the last few pieces to charities, which will eventually be given to homeless people. Of course, Chun Zhao did not have much to give. Most things in the villa were not his, after all. He would certainly not give something that did not even belong to him. Shortly after he gave Sienna a call, Sienna, Chris, and Cheryl showed up. To them, nothing was too old. For example, toasters and dishwashers were perfectly good as long as they were functioning and not broken. Indeed, they were very excited to obtain these appliances for free. Chun, if there's anything else that you don't need, remember to tell us. The three received more than 10 appliances of various sizes. By the way, how are you doing in Movich's company? Nothing's happened till now. Supernatural events don't just happen every day, Sienna said. Mr. Chun. Cheryl lifted her head and looked at Chun. Call me Chun, just like they do. Chun, can you invite Mr. Werewolf here again? I have some questions to ask him. What do you want to ask? Recently, I find it more and more difficult to control my emotions during a full moon. I want to know what I should do. I can ask him for you, but it won't be easy to invite him here, Chinzhao said. Sienna and Chris had also heard from Cheryl that Chinzhao knew a real werewolf. They were actually not surprised by this. After all, in their eyes, Chinzhao was a mystery. There was therefore nothing strange about him knowing a real werewolf. Just then, Fu arrived and saw Chinzhao carrying things around. Sienna, Chris, and Cheryl bid goodbye and left in a car. Chun, are Fali and you moving? Fu had gone to Mirror Lake and seen their lakeside villa before. She was actually somewhat jealous that Fali could find such a boyfriend. Not yet, but when we return we should be able to move in. Why are you here? I've decided to go to Sacramento with you. If you're just here to inform me, you could have given me a call. I'm on annual leave, starting from today. I realized I have nowhere to go now, so here I am. Come in and take a seat. Chinzhao poured for a glass of water. Just then, a few more people entered the house. It was Risfar, Laura, Vera, and Ronnie, as well as Laffer. When Risfar saw Fu, he was clearly stunned. When he was trying to ask Chinzhao to treat his wife, he had investigated Fu. Johnny, Laura, why are you here? We heard that you're moving, so we came to say goodbye. Please, I'm not leaving America. I'll still be in LA, but it won't be as convenient for us to meet up. Uncle Chin, where are you going? Can we never see Princess again? Can we never see Black Ma and White Ma again? Of course not. You can go to my new house anytime. Now you walk for 20 minutes, and next time you will sit in a car for 20 minutes. It'll be the same. In fact, Beverly Hills was at least an hour away from Mountain Town. The two places were quite far apart. But in order to comfort Ronnie and Vera, Chinzhao deliberately set a shorter time. Is this beautiful lady your friend? Risfar asked despite already knowing the answer. Chun, you were alone with her at home. Aren't you scared that Fali will find out? Laura could tell that Fu and Chinzhao did not have a special relationship, but this did not prevent her from teasing Chinzhao. This is Fu, Fali's younger sister. Chun, I brought you a bottle of red wine. Let's eat grilled meat and drink this for lunch. I don't mind the combination, but I hope the wine's not over $10,000. I don't want to be that luxurious. Don't worry, it's only a few thousand. Do you really not have any red wine that's cheaper? I mean, that is its market price. Is there a difference? Of course. I own the brand's winery, so I determine the price. Fu and Laura chatted in the living room, while Chinzhao and Risfar talked in the courtyard. Soon, Del and Faith also came. Risfar had called them here. It was like a farewell meal. In the afternoon, Fali also came back early to join the gathering. Fu, stay here tonight, Fali suggested. I can stay, but you need to promise me you're not having sex tonight, or I'll kill both of you. All right, I promise, Fali vowed confidently. After all, they were planning to leave the next morning. It would be more convenient if Fu could stay over. That night, Chinzhao did not touch Fali, a very rare occurrence. He slept on the sofa in the living room instead. The next day, Chinzhao, Fali, and Fu, together with the pets, boarded the RV and departed. Fu, can you drive for a while? I'll prepare breakfast. The RV had a complete kitchen. Fu sat onto the driver's seat without any suspicion. In the end, just as the RV made its way out of the city, she heard moans from the back. Asshole, you lied to me. You've planned all this. For cursed as she drove. If the two of you make any sound again, I'll drive the van into the sea. Shit, just be quiet. For was already mad. Chapter 374, On the Road. Chapter 374, On the Road. After messing around for an hour, Fali put the late breakfast before 4. For realized that she'd been tricked into being the driver. Right now, Chen Zhao and Fali were leaning against each other, enjoying the scenery along the way. For could only sit behind the wheel. The only thing that comforted her was that a cute little kitty was accompanying her. Meow, meow, meow. Samuel stood on the dashboard and monologued to 4. Human, are you willing to become my follower? I just want to kill that annoying couple. Become my follower and all your wishes will come true. You're so much better. Only you're willing to accompany me. Do you want a bacon sandwich? Very good. I am satisfied with your offering. When I rule the world, you will become my right-hand woman. Just then, a police car in front of them gestured at the RV to stop. For could only park the car behind the police car. The officer motioned for her to open the door. These highways mostly had state police. They would stop suspicious cars to search. For didn't know what she'd done to get the officer's attention, but she still obediently opened the door. Hello, how may I help you? For asked. This is your car? The police asked. No, it's my sister and her boyfriend's. 4 pointed up. To be honest, it was indeed a bit dramatic to drive a car like this on the road. I need to go up and check, the officer said. Be my guest. Not even a few steps later, a bare head suddenly appeared. The officer fell to the ground, frantically trying to pull his gun out of his belt. Officer, that is a pet. We have a pet license. The officer was still terrified. Are you sure? Sure this monster won't eat people? Princess walked over to the officer. She grabbed an apple from the table and took 2 bites. She seemed to sense that the officer was afraid, so she took another apple and offered it to the officer. Roar, roar, roar. What is it doing? It's asking if you want to eat it. Just then, Chun Zhao and Fali came down from the balcony. For what happened? This officer got scared by Princess, for said. No, I was just suddenly. The police glanced at Princess. It's so big. Officer, please sit. Chen Zhao sat on the sofa to the side. Where are you all from? L.A. Where are you going? Sacramento. Why are you going to Sacramento? It's our dad's birthday, Fali answered. We're going to celebrate his birthday? Can you all show me your IDs? The 3 all took out their licenses. In America, people could usually use their driver's license as their IDs. The officer checked their licenses and returned them after confirming there were no problems. The speed limit is 60 to 80 kilometers per hour here, the officer said. You best not be lower than that. I won't give you a ticket this time, but please be careful about your speed. Also, there's been 4 armed car robberies in half a month on this road. You guys should careful. Thank you for your warning. We'll be careful. When the officer went down the steps, he stopped and said, Oh, can I have a picture with it, Princess? Of course. After getting a picture, the officer left the car, satisfied. But the officer realized the RV didn't start driving. The 3 were instead arguing in the car. The officer tapped the window. Are you all okay? Go drive, Chen Zhao said. Don't block the road with the car. This is your car, For said angrily. Why should I drive? Why should I be your chauffeur? Don't be so petty. Just drive a bit more. I'll take your place later. You two have been fucking like rabbits the entire morning. For roared. I've had enough. The officer outside looked at Four with sympathy. This was honestly too much. Okay, I promise we'll be quieter next time. Hearing this, more murderous intent flared in Four's eyes. Don't park here for too long, the officer reminded. Otherwise, I'll write a ticket. For wouldn't compromise at all, so Chen Zhao and Fali's plan was ruined. In the end, Chen Zhao had to drive. Being a road trip driver truly wasn't fun. Thankfully, Fali sat beside him, chatting with Chan Zhao. On the other hand, for put on sunglasses, rubbed in sunblock, and enjoyed the afternoon sunlight under the parasol at the top of the car. Fali pointed at the GPS. There should be a rest station up ahead. We can go there for a break. Willis, where are you right now? I'm on Highway 5, around 120 kilometers from Trolley County. We've already checked the people injured from the 4 crimes. We've discovered that the criminals used a signal disturbance tool, affecting the direction that the drivers traveled in. Those unfamiliar with the route may drive into remote areas. The criminals also set up obstacles along the way. When the driver came out to check, they would attack the driver and the others on the car. There are hundreds of exits on Highway 5. How am I supposed to prevent it? Everyone along the route, watch out. Just patrol your area. If you discover any disturbances with the signal, it may be the criminals. Okay, got it. Willis continued driving, patrolling on the highway. Just then, Willis saw the RV stopping at the rest stop up ahead. Thinking back to how scared he'd been of the bear, Willis suddenly found it funny. He also parked the car at the rest stop. When he entered the restaurant, he saw the 3 sitting there. Hi, Willis greeted first. Hello, sir, Qinzhao answered. Want to sit down? Willis sat beside the trio. You didn't bring Princess in? This store doesn't allow Princess, so I left her in the car. The law states that you can't lock pets in a sealed place, Willis reminded. The car has an automatic oxygen system. If it senses that the oxygen level is low, it'll activate automatically. Plus, we only plan on sitting here for 20 minutes. Willis only mentioned it. He didn't plan on making a big deal over it. He knew how amazing the RV was. Chapter 375. The person who last said this to me is long dead. Chapter 375. The person who last said this to me is long dead. We should get going. Goodbye, Willis. After finishing their meal, Chun Zhao walked up and hugged Willis. Oh, let me give you my number. If you encounter any trouble on your way, call me, Willis said. Although they could call 911 too, the operator would still redirect the call to him. Calling him straight would save them a lot of time. Trouble? He's not afraid of trouble. Fali glanced at Qinzhao. She knew how strong Qinzhao was. For example, just a few days ago, he had beaten a boxer up. For had told her about it. The boxer had beaten Chun Zhao's student up. Then Chun Zhao took revenge in the same way. Willis smiled and glanced at Qinzhao. Somewhat skinny and wearing decent clothes, Qinzhao did not look like he could fight. Nevertheless, men always enjoyed boasting before their women. Willis was not going to expose Chun Zhao here. Have a nice trip, Willis said. In the car park outside the rest area, there was an old Ford Mustang. A man was in the car, drinking some alcohol and looking at the RV not far away. Boss, we found a prey. Activate the interference there and change the road sign. We'll follow them. How many people are there? 3, an Asian and 2 women. The 2 women are really beautiful. The man wiped his saliva, his eyes glowing with lust. Just then, the RV moved. The man immediately started the car and followed it. Meanwhile, Chun Zhao realized that the GPS screen was not changing. Fali, come and take a look at the GPS. I think it's malfunctioning. Fali walked up and checked it. Indeed, it shows that we're still at the rest area. Why would the GPS on such an advanced vehicle malfunction? Even military navigation systems can fail. The quality of the vehicle is irrelevant. Do you want me to drive? Fali asked. No, there are road signs anyway. I can read. Just then, they saw the road ahead split into 2. Chun Zhao checked the road sign and changed their lane. Chun, I think you made a mistake. It's not this way. Didn't the road sign point here? Is it? Fali looked at the road sign who had already passed. It seemed to be pointing in their direction. Never mind, keep driving. If it's wrong, we can turn back. Just as Willis walked out from the burger restaurant, his phone rang. But when he picked up the call, he realized that there was only a cacophony of noises. He could not hear what the other person was saying. Willis tried to call the person back, but it was still noises. What happened? An interference? Willis suddenly recalled that during his conversation with the HQ earlier, he was told that the gang on the road would use signal interference to misdirect unaware drivers. Nevertheless, their signal interference device was not military and could cover at most 10 kilometers. Willis thought about it. There had not been any interference on his way here, so the source must be ahead. He immediately boarded his car and drove toward the northwest. After a few kilometers, Willis saw a road sign. It was clearly wrong. Willis knew at once that the wrong road sign had probably been placed by the gang to misdirect passing drivers. This road is definitely not correct. Actually, even without Falai's reminder, Chun Zhao would have realized it by now. They had already driven into the wilderness. The road was in poor conditions and, with only 2 lanes, was rather narrow. Because of that, it was difficult to turn around. Chun, have you realized that a car has been following us? Chun Zhao also noticed the old Ford Mustang a few meters behind them. He could smell something fishy. Ask Ford to come down from the roof and close it. If something happens later, stay in the van. Chun, you mean it's a trap? Very likely, Chun Zhao nodded. Falai took out her phone and tried to call the police, but it was unsuccessful. Can you not make a call? My phone has full signal, but it just doesn't work. It's fine. Don't leave the van later. Just leave it to me. For also walked down from the roof. Chun, what happened? Nothing, Chun Zhao said lightly. We took the wrong path. Just then, the expected roadblocks finally appeared. A few logs lay on the road, blocking the path. The car behind also followed them closely and blocked their route of retreat. They could not even turn around. Suddenly, about a dozen people appeared from the mounds by the road. Their leader was a bald man. He had a big beard and was wearing a gray vest. Come out. Everyone on the van, come out now. The bearded bald man shouted. Chun, what do we do? For was horrified. Nothing, it's safe in the van. As long as we don't leave the van, they can't do anything to us. The RV and its glasses were all bulletproof. It was clearly impossible for them to threaten the people in the van with just the sticks they had. Even if they had iron rods, they would probably need a century to break the windows. Just then, police sirens were heard from behind. Chun Zhao, Falai, and Four realized that it was Willis's police car. The 3 were delighted, thinking that danger was over. However, they clearly underestimated how fierceness of the gangsters. The bald man suddenly took out a shotgun and fired at Willis's car. Bang! The car hood flew out at once, and the police car smashed into a rock on the roadside. Chun Zhao frowned. The gang was more ferocious and dangerous than he thought. It was hard to imagine how such gangsters could even exist here. Just then, Chun Zhao saw a gangster walk toward the RV with a barrel of gasoline. If you still don't open the door, we'll burn the van, the bald man shouted. Chun, what do we do? Falai looked at Chun Zhao in fear. Don't worry, I'm here. I'll go out and talk to them, Chun Zhao said. Don't go out. They're all brutal butchers. Falai pulled Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao shook his head. We don't have a choice. After I go out, close the door immediately. Chun Zhao opened the door and the automatic ladder extended. He strolled down the steps and immediately asked Falai to close the door. A gangster attempted to prevent the door from closing, but Chun Zhao kicked him away right away. Then, the bald man dragged Willis, now covered in blood, in front of Chun Zhao. Willis looked miserable, but his life was actually not at risk. He was mainly injured from the collision. The bald man hit Willis's head with the stock and then pointed a shotgun at Chun Zhao. Ask them to open the door? How much do you want? I can give you money, Chun Zhao said. I want not just money, but also the 2 beautiful women inside, the bald man said. Chun Zhao's stare turned cold. Do you know, the person who last said this to me is long dead? You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.